Okay, welcome, Dennis. You're really quite early. I love that. I think there should be a gift for you for being the first. I think you're right now. If you can hear me, please indicate in the comments if you can. Let's get prepped for.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Am I the one introducing you? Right?
And don't worry, you would. I would. No, you wouldn't.
You said? Hello? Can you hear me? Is it live already?
Yeah, it's actually like, but we just have few people. So it's
Ooh,
not 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m.
okay.
We're kicking off. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So where am I taking introduction? Let me say a little um a bit of what I know
Okay.
about you, or my experience
Um,
as a virtual assistant, that kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Can you
So from
okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
first second, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So from the first second, yeah, first second, then I'll take on the first.
Okay, okay, okay. Beautiful. All right. Okay. 3 minutes more. Let me
Let
go
me
and
go.
edit
So
them for me.
let me go and cook small.
Welcome, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us from. Can I see some reactions on the chat if you are currently on the chat? Oh, welcome Peace, welcome Fumilayo, welcome Kingsley, welcome Samuel. We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. Welcome. Batnosen. Is it Batnosen? Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Welcome, Cynthia Okonkwo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Dennis Oluchi. We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. So if you are currently on this chat, know that we are live. So you are on this event, the assistant upgrade. I know that everyone has been talking about virtual assistant, or you are in a different industry that you also give assistance to people, but you've always been wondering about what is the next big thing that I can do. How can I make the kind of money that people are making? Because doing a job that is $2, $3, or $6 per hour, it's not what you want to use to build your mansion. Let me see some reactions in the chat. Paul, I love you. Paul is giving us some fire emoji. Nice, nice, nice. So excited to be here. So excited to have you too. My name is Favor Commander, and I want to welcome you to the official start of the assistant upgrade. So if you are on the chat right now, just tell me what's your name. I can see some of your names, but these usernames can be very tricky. So you can spell out your full name. What's your name? What's your current role? Like for me, I'm a virtual assistant, but I'm also upgrading. You see the way this program has brought us together. I'm currently taking an upgrade class, and we are here to learn about assistant upgrade, how we can make our clients' life better, how we can upscale ourselves, and how we can move on to the next level, like the next big thing in our industry or in our career. So let me read some comments on the chat. What's your name? What's your current role? Where are you joining us from? Are you joining us from Nigeria? Are you joining us from Lagos, from Paris, from France, from Kenya, from Nairobi? Different place. Can tell us where you're joining us from. And also, what is your expectation from this event? We have been, from the start of the year to now, this is July, which is like, is it the third quarter of the year now? We've had a lot of sessions. People have attended a lot of
Yeah, it's
sessions.
it.
Me personally, I've attended a lot of sessions, webinars, classes, and all of that. And most times it feels like it's a lot of information and we are unable to process it because too many things are coming in at the same time. And it's almost like, oh, what can I do? How do I make this money that these people are making? Right? Because you can only ask as much questions, but on this space right now, you can ask as many questions as you want because we want to give you more. We want to show you what you can do, what more you are capable of. So tell us where your name, your current role, where you're joining us from, and what is your expectation from this particular event that you're attending today. So that once you write it down, oh, I'm attending this event so that I can learn how to be more than a virtual assistant. And by the end of this event, when all our speakers have come in and they've told you all the things that they've done, how they've made millions upon millions of dollars, you will be able to go back to that book and say, oh, I have an expected goal at hand. So let me read from the chat. Hello, hello, hello. So excited to be here. My name is Elizabeth and I'm an email marketer. Oh, Fumi. Let me see my connection on LinkedIn. Oh, hey, people are find me here. Nice. Okay, Paul said, hi, hello, I'm Paul. I'm an executive assistant. Look at my virtual assistant people. I'm seeing all of you. Okay, Paul is also joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Samuel is joining us from Accra, Ghana. Samuel, which of the industry are you in? What is your current role? Are you an email marketer? Are you an executive assistant? Are you a creative writer? What are you? Want to know? Want to know? Okay, in case she said she's a writer and she's joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, Fumilaya says she's a virtual assistant and she's joining us from Port Harcourt. And Bright is Crazy, we are found you. Nice, 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 nice. So I want to see more reactions on the chat. I want to see more involvement. Let's keep the conversation going. Why are you here? What has been happening in your career that you know that okay, I need an upgrade? You've been telling yourself you've been doing this thing repeatedly for over some time. There has to be a better way to do it. What is that better way? What do you want to learn? Let's get inside your head. Okay, Bright said Bright Omolola is a creative writer from Kogi State, and we also have Imam. We have okay, Imam is a virtual assistant joining from Ede, Nigeria, and we have Kingsley joining in from Owerri. All right, all right. Let's keep the activities on the chat. Let us also know why you are here on the live so that we can get to know you and we can get to know where the pain point is, what you really want to know, right? And also, one of the things that made me actually know Henry was from LinkedIn actually, and someone has who said that they knew me from LinkedIn because LinkedIn is where we all made our connections and we became friends. So I'm a virtual assistant. I help founders, business owners, busy professionals, and all of that. I got a lead one time, and the client was like, "Oh, I want you to do this. I want you to edit. I want you to do email marketing." And I was like, if this person wants me to do email marketing, then I cannot be charging like the normal rates. I have to charge something higher. And that was when I went to meet Henry. I was like, Henry, come, oh, this is your field. You are the email marketer person. Come and tell me, how do I do this? If I want to tell the client that I want to add this to my service, how do I do it? So you see, all of these things, if I did not know Henry then, I would have gotten maybe misinformation and I would have not have known that I could have added email marketing into my service. So these are the things that we want to learn here. So we have more people. We have Samuel, who is a virtual assistant and a data analyst, and we have Cynthia, who is also an executive assistant. So we have lots of executive assistants here, email marketers, creative writers. I really love that we have a mix of all of it. So I'm going to hand over to Henry Okeke, who is the founder of More Than Just Us Email, so that I can take it off from here. Henry, over to you. Henry, can you hear me? Henry, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, yes. So you can carry
I
on.
think I lost you for a moment.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, all right. So welcome everyone. Welcome Ilana. Welcome Des. It's super amazing to have you guys in. It's a whole lot. It means a lot to me. Yeah, and a very big welcome to everyone here present. Thank you for joining as early as possible. I think there was one who was here around a few minutes, like a couple of minutes to 5, and that's really good. So you're welcome to the assistant upgrade. It's been long awaited, and we're here. So okay, I'm seeing people joining from different places. That's really good. We still have so many people who need to be here, and if you know someone who needs to be here, I'll drop the link in the chat right now so that you get this to them as fast as possible, right? Because this is definitely going to be career changing for them, and you want to be the person who they would say was behind or was behind their career upgrade. So yeah, so let's get this, as many people as we know would need it. We still have many more people who are going to join in, and we can't wait to get into the good stuff. Our speakers are here already, and that's a very big deal. So you need to get your if you're on a laptop right now, that's even the best because it would have one of the sessions are going to be is going to be live and would work on it together. So we would be working with a tool right here on this live stream. So if you're on your laptop, that's the best because you're going to be working alongside the training, right? So it's already promising to give everything it's supposed to give, right? So if you're still joining or if you just joined, you're welcome to the assistant upgrade, and please tell us where you're joining from, your current role, and also your expectations for this particular event. So let's know what we have and what we're looking forward to. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our speakers very briefly, though. We'll still get to know them better as we proceed. So I'm going to introduce them briefly. We have two of them already here, and two more are going to join us with time. So first of all, I'm going to introduce Des, and Des is an incredible person. It's been a beautiful experience, knowing you, meeting you, and pulling this together. All right, so I would go right into the whole introduction. But for now, just know that this is a new marketer with 12 years of experience in the marketing industry. And I promise you, that's a whole lot of years of experience to have. That's he's done both things in the industry, particularly for Africa, right? Because his whole his whole work has been to make email marketing, particularly for Africa, to bring it all the theories we learn, all the principles, all the strategies we hear. Des is trying to bring them over here to see how it can be applied in the African market. So you're here to learn from the best of the best. I'm not kidding you. So yeah, so there's your welcome. We really look forward to your session. Look forward to the incredible things you're going to share. Right? And also,
Thank you,
we
Henry.
have someone also very special. You're welcome, this. You're welcome. You're very welcome. We have Ilana with us. And so Ilana has spoken in my community, and it was beautiful. So when you see, definitely in for a treat, right? So Ilana is a CRM strategist, and she's worked mostly in the D2C space as an email marketer. And why one of the reasons why I love her work is Dana has over 15 years in the industry. So you're seeing someone with 10 years and another person with 15 years. So that tells you, you're getting the best from the best, right? So she's a CRM and retention specialist for DTC brands, and just like this, she understands how the industry works in the African market. So she has worked with a couple of she has so much experience to share with us about the industry and what an upgrade would look like for your particular career set, and what where you are currently and where you're looking to get to here. So Ilana, you're welcome. It's incredible to have you here. I am really grateful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making all the time. I know you're very busy. Thank you for making all the time to be here. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Henry.
You're welcome. All right. So our two other speakers are going to join within the session. So we'll have the opportunity to hear from them. So for now, we'll kick off and get right into today's event. So welcome to the assistant upgrade, everyone. Thank you very much, Favor. Thank you for sparing the time to be here. I know that I roped you in on a very short notice. So, but thank you so much for making out the time still. I appreciate you sincerely. Welcome. Oh, no, you're not late. You're not late. You're right on time. So, Favor, thank you so much. Thank you for creating this time to be here to moderate this event, and it means a whole lot to me also. Yeah. So I'll introduce. I promise you, it's been really great. So I'm the founder of More Than Just Emails, and it's a new marketing community for new marketers in Africa, right? Because just like this is doing, we've discovered that the industry really needs the industry in Africa particularly needs people who get and understand how it works here in Africa. So that's what we are doing at More Than Just Emails. We just kicked off in January this year, and honestly, it's been crazy. I'm not even going to lie, it's been a whole lot. right? It's been a whole lot of work, but it's work I'm proud of doing, right? And we're here to solve one particular problem, right? To bridge the skills gap and the opportunity gap here in Africa for people who want to come into the industry, to the email marketing industry, and also for people who currently have skill sets, particularly are doing little bits of emails here and there, but then they need to understand what email marketing is all about. Because currently in Africa, it's still very very nascent, and when you're speaking to someone about emails, about how emails can help their business, you're like, okay, so what is email marketing, right? I get it a whole lot. So if I tell people I'm an email marketer, immediately I would be the odd one in the group, right? Because you're hearing things like I'm a graphic designer, social media person, I'm an executive assistant, a virtual assistant. I'm like, okay, well, I do emails and that's all. So yeah, so we've been doing this at more than just emails. And in Q1 alone, we're able to place over 10 members of our community in full-time and internship roles. And we've built more than just email academy. So currently it's a full-blown academy covering 16 weeks, and we use it to train email marketers across the um, several parts of email marketing. What we intend to do is by 2030, we want to have over 5,000 graduates, placing over 1,000 of them in sustainable jobs as email marketers. Because when you go to other continents, Europe, America, the US, they understand what these things do. And when you come to here in Africa, we have so much opportunity, right? So there's a lot of work to be done, and we're doing our best over at more than just email. So by 2030, when recruiters worldwide need email marketing, we want them to come to Africa and pick the best, right? So that's the reason why we are bringing the best from Africa to be in this event, right? To tell you and show you what the ropes are for the event. So we'll make use of the chat, right? If you need, or maybe there's something you want to need clarity on, just drop a message in the chat and we'll get right to you. Oh yeah, we have someone who's a product of more than just email academy. Yeah, that's good. Shout out to shout out to you all. You all are very very incredible email marketers. Yeah. So there's something I want you to know before we go into the meat of this event, and it's the fact that everything is possible. And I'm saying this because I know some people here don't have jobs. Some people here maybe recently got laid off. With the AI trend, people are getting really laid off. But I really want you to understand that everything is possible. Why? Because the work you want to get, when you see people who have been in one industry for over 10 years, it tells you something, right? It tells you that there is something to stay in, there's something to stay for. And that's one of the beautiful things about the email marketing industry, right? So the dream job you want to get, salary increase, the life you actually want to live. When you hear our speakers tell you about the industry and share their experiences, you would see that it's a place for you to not just build a career, but a place for you to expand into other skill sets. One of the reasons why I love what I do is it takes me beyond just sending emails. It takes me into automations, which is something I'm currently exploring right now, and then a couple of other things I'm exploring because of where email marketing sits in the whole marketing journey, right? So it's a place where it's a very intricate place, and when you're there, when you understand how effective emails are, it literally blows your mind. Emails bring in designs, they bring automations, a whole lot of things, right? So these are things people do already as standalone skill sets, but email combines all these things. So you're getting this upgrade because you would be able to, at the end of this training, my expectation for you is that you'll be able to get the opportunities you're looking for out there. Not just as an email marketer, but as someone who's already working maybe in a role as either a social media person or virtual assistant. Because as it stands right now, most of your clients, most of the people you're working for need emails, but they don't even know that they actually have a problem. So it's up to you through this training to know that, oh, okay, I'm going to go tell them on Monday that they have a problem, and I'm going to be the one who fixes it, and I'm going to get paid for fixing it. That's the whole point of this event. And the assistant who got this training, she'll be speaking to you shortly. She's she's one of the speakers, and 3 months ago, after getting this upgrade, she's now earning 7 times her previous income. So it's for you to see the potentials within this industry. So there's a whole lot of things for you to get from it. So I need you to stay glued to your screens. If you're on, like I said earlier, if you have your laptop, please that would be really beautiful because you're going to be working through a couple of things together. Right. So why are you here in the first place? I mean, it's Friday, it's a weekend, you could be anywhere else in the world right now. But you're here because you understand that there's a big shift happening right now in your industry. Right. Whether you're a VE, whether you're a graphic designer, whether you're a social media person, there is a big shift. And it's the fact that the lane you're in right now, it's not growing anymore. Right? It's not. It's actually rather shrinking. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. But I'm not saying this for you to get scared. Uh, that's actually why this event exists because you need to understand, and we have data to show you that. So I want to show you something very, very quick. Because if you've observed the job roles, say in the past 5 years, yeah, since 2021, if you've observed job trends, how roles have shifted, how they've changed, you would see that you notice something very, very important. There's something that I've picked up, and it's the fact that job descriptions no longer ask for people who can do general tasks or people who can do all the work. So you would need to stand out in a very insane way for you to get hired, for you to stay relevant, no matter the industry you're in. Right. And I want to show you something that I saw recently. So this is a job description from 2019. Yeah, so 2019. Oh, it's 20, no, it's 2024 rather, from 2024, yeah. And it's for an executive assistant, right? So you'd see various, you can read the job description here on screen. You can see what they are asking. These are, what you do every day as an assistant. But this is a job description from this week. It is on the 13th. And one thing that shocked me about this job description, it's still for an executive assistant, right? But what shocked me was it's no longer the executive assistant as you saw in the previous, as you saw here, right? It's now an executive assistant who would be an analyst or who would also play the role of an analyst. Now, that's a very, very specific skill set to have. So it's not enough to have, oh, you know how to handle admin tasks, you know how to do all of these things. It now boils down to more detailed things, right? And one of the crazy things here is something that I did not believe, would be a part of the role of an executive assistant, and that's when you're told that you would gather, analyze, provide insights on industry trends using data from the businesses that the person manages. So across all the businesses, you study, you find trends to make better decisions for them. So it's going way beyond just task management into very serious deals, and people who are no longer generalists, right? People who don't or who still handle general tasks would find themselves losing opportunities, right? You'll find themselves losing opportunities. And there are some things I also saw that were actually very a little bit scary though. Something like this, right? And this was from Google Trends. People are no longer looking for the keyword virtual assistant. So it's reduced. And what has taken the place of it? It's now the keyword AI assistant. So people are searching for this particular keyword 2 times, 2.7 times more than the keyword virtual assistant. So you need to understand where this industry is headed, right? And this was actually last year. This happened last year. So definitely by this year, it should be 3 times more than the more search of the word AI assistant. So this is the shift happening right now, and it tells you something because what's happening right now because of the AI revolution. What's going on is the small medium businesses that we you know that you easily get roles that reach out either on Upwork or LinkedIn or different places for roles. They are now automating so many tasks, but they don't just want to automate tasks. They want people who can grow with their AI stack. So, for instance, you have a founder who has, like, let's say, a couple of AI tools. Claude is maybe running as the mind. You have Zapier here. You have Airtable. You have Make. You have this bunch of AI tools running around. They want someone who can grow with it, right? So, as the business is growing, AI tools are growing. They want someone who can grow with it. So that's what you're looking for in an AI assistant. So it's no longer about you can handle calls and all of these things. It's really really about breaking down into something hyper specific and working with it. And here's also something else you also need to see: the fact that admin assistant employment rates roles rather has dropped by 12% since 2019, and there's also a projection from McKinsey about yeah, 700. Okay. And also, the 7% of companies expect to have replaced their jobs with AI. This is now, I believe many of us are familiar with this. If you've been using maybe Claude or any of these AI tools, you're definitely going to see how crazy these things are, right? If you're building with these tools, these things are getting extra intelligent by the day, right? Like I use Claude a lot, and every single almost like 3 times a day, I'm getting updates. So and I'm like, okay, what are you guys actually doing behind the scenes? So it's all about making these tools hyper intelligent, right? And you need to understand that you should be able to grow alongside them, be proficient in using them, and have skill sets that stay relevant across time. And one of the most important skill sets is email. So honestly, till I don't know whenever, but till forever, emails will stay relevant because we would never be able to do without emails, right? So it's going to be a question of brands asking for email marketers. Favor said something earlier, and it was the fact that a client reached out to her and she was asked to do emails. So she reached out to me and was like, okay, I need help with setting this up. So that's where the industry is headed. So you need to be prepped. And that's why we're putting this together to get you prepped, get you ready so that by Monday, definitely by Monday, you are equipped at least with the fundamental skill sets, the fundamental know-how to solve problems currently in your work. So you don't need to change roles. You don't need to be you don't need to be a full-time email marketer to be able to solve these problems. What you need are the fundamental ideas on how to do them, and then you go get it. You go do it. Right. So that's right. So when you look at the email marketing, the VA landscape on Upwork, for instance, you see that there's a whole lot going on there. There's a particular country, it's an Asian country, so I'm not going to mention it, but it's an Asian country. And they do something very funny, right? If everyone is going left, they are going right in terms of rate. So let's say the industry is charging, say, maybe $13 per hour, maybe $5 per hour. You see them charging like $2 per hour, and they are getting a lot of roles. So, are you asking yourself, okay, why is this happening? Like, because they understand what's at stake. So it's either you go low or you become a specialist in something else, right? It has to be either of these things. And honestly, you can't keep going lower. Like you can't keep you just can't keep going lower. So it's better you become a specialist in something and you get better opportunities. You become valued more. You have better results to give than someone who can do literally everything. So, and that's the whole point of putting this together because the specialists would be able to earn 37 times more than the generalists, especially without changing client because it's a big deal. People are wondering, okay, do I need to maybe go into full time email marketing? Do I need to go into full time roles? You need to know how to attach or add this skill set, have this upgrade added to what you currently do so that you'll be able to stay relevant in your industry without ever, having to be thrown out the door, laid off, or something of the sort, right? Yeah. So tonight, depending on where you are, so it's evening here still. We'll be working. We will be listening to these incredible speakers walk us through these things, walk us through what emails can do, the opportunities therein for this event, for us, for you, and also if you don't have a role currently, you're actually in the right place because you can break into a full-time industry with insane opportunities here in Africa. So Africa is very hot for email marketing because we barely have email marketers who can handle tasks, right? And the shift is happening already. People are getting woke in terms of emails gradually though, and brands are beginning to see the relevance. So if you want to stay hired, staying with roles, staying employed. I think that's what I want. I would be inviting our first speaker to come up, take up the floor, walk us through a couple of things. But before that, I want you to know that there's something for you. So I have a couple of resources for you in this event during this session, right? So some of them would walk you through various templates that you need to kick off by Monday. It's that prime for you to execute it by Monday. Then there are a couple of them, right? So the first one will be the assistant's first client workbook, and it's going to be only for life attendance, right? So you need to stay to a certain point of the event, and you have access to it, right? So I'll be calling up our first speaker to have the floor, and it's nobody else than Des. And like I said earlier, Des is an incredible person. Is an incredible person. So if you're excited, I'm going to introduce him yet, but if you're going to know what you're hearing, I want to see some reactions. I want to let me know that you actually understand what you're going to get. So I want to see some reactions. I want to see some people. So let me know that you're expectant, please. I want to see. I've actually said a whole lot of things, right? So let me see. Who wants to hear? Who wants to listen to what this has to say? Nobody. Okay. I can see someone. Okay. I hope you guys are not cooking. I'm not cooking beans over there because this is. I can't see you, but I promise you, I'm going to see you one way or another. So I can see people who want to hear from this. So there's you have people who are excited and expecting to listen to you, and that's very incredible. I promise you, I can guarantee you one thing: you're going to listen. You're going to hear from the best, right? So I'll go into introducing this properly so that you know who would be walking you through this, right? And is no one else other than the founder of Email Experts Africa. He's a creator of Email Advice in Your Inbox newsletter. It's a newsletter that has really helped my journey so much. And he's also the founder of Crossletter. So for you all who send newsletters, you're in for a treat, for an incredible treat. So he works at the intersection of international email best practices and then the African market reality. So helping businesses both locally and globally through best practices of emails, practical advice, and world-class email coaching and implementation. Okay. That's a certified. He's certified, he's experienced. 12 years ain't a joke at all. And he's refreshingly honest about what emails can do and what they can't do in the African space. So the floor is yours, and we're all eager to hear you, to learn from you, and then to get the insight you have to share. So thank you so much, guys.
Henry, what a lovely introduction. Thank you. An absolute pleasure to be here. An absolute pleasure to have so many people in the comments. I've just kept a loose eye on that, and there seems to be a lot of excitement. It's definitely a lovely space. If there's something I enjoy, seeing the African email space grow. I mean, that's one of the reasons I've named my business what it is. I'm proud of the fact that I am born and bred African, and I'm proud of the space that we're building. I think that's one of the most exciting parts about this. Africa has never been known for email. I'm on a mission to change that. I know you're on a mission to change that. And we've got the right people in the room to be able to help us do that, right? So anyone here that's learning, anyone here that is excited about this, I'm as excited to be here too. So Henry, thank you. That's a lovely intro. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk through a couple of things. I'll give a little intro to myself, not that I could beat Henry's intro, but yes, I'll give a little intro. My discussion today will be about my journey and to show that anyone in this space can follow a very similar journey and sort of where that's going and where you can take email as a career. It's not just a job. It's not just a side hustle. It's not just something you do as part of your role. Email as a career. And we're going to speak about a couple of things you've already touched on, Henry. So let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. Let's make sure it's the right screen because I've got two here in front of me. Is that showing up? Henry, can you confirm that? Can everyone see the screen? If someone can give me a thumbs up, I'd be elated.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
There we go. I can actually see it.
All right, yeah.
I can see it. Awesome. So what Henry's asked me to speak about today is how you go from the space of a generalist, and especially those of you that are VAs or analysts, to becoming what we would call a full-time email marketer. And email marketing, let me maybe begin, is a very deep rabbit hole, right? It's not just sending a newsletter, which is something that people think email is. It's far more than that. And I'm sure Ilana is going to touch on that too. There's a heap that goes into the email space. And there's so many different aspects of email that it's actually a career trajectory that you can take into a specific space of email if you really dive deep. So it's not just that you become proficient at everything. There are specialists at specific parts of email too, right? So we'll touch on those. And I don't want this to be very slide heavy. I've only prepared a few slides. I'm going to be speaking. So as long as you can hear me clearly, I'm happy with that. But our starting point to kick off is, how do we take that journey? Right? What is the journey I've been on? Where do we go from there? So to begin, just a quick introduction about myself. Henry's mentioned this, and I just want to speak to my email world specifically. But as Henry mentioned, I run the Email Advice in Your Inbox newsletter community. And I call it a community because it's a space that I want to teach and I want to learn from as well. I'm one of those people that learns practically everything he knows about the email space, not just from the connections I make, but from the emails I'm sending and the emails I'm consuming. I'm probably signed up to 600-700 different newsletters, the majority of those being international senders that speak about email and the digital space. And one of the things I strive for is inbox zero. So I go through literally every email in my inbox every day. And it's a time-consuming endeavor, but it's for me the best place to learn. So I'm going to speak about the Email Advice in Your Inbox journey, and I'm going to share a quick link a little bit later in this so that you can sign up, you can check it out. The goal around this community is learning. It's understanding the email space. It's understanding what goes into it, what's changing, because a lot of that is changing, especially with things like AI. And Henry's mentioned that even in the email sphere, we're not impacted by AI. So I run this community. I also run, as Henry's mentioned, Crossletter. And I'm big on collaboration. I'm big on people using friendship and using a handshake to be able to grow. And I was frustrated, especially in email space, because making a cross promotion between two different senders is always such a difficult endeavor. You've got to go through so many steps. You've got to go through so many processes. In that frustration, I wound up building a platform to connect newsletters. So if you run an email program, if you run a business, you don't have to build that in a silo. Why not build with people that are in a similar space to you? And in that frustration, I've put together a space that you can list your newsletter, that you can list your emails, that you can find and attract sponsors. Email monetization is a whole topic on its own, but that's what Crossletter is intended to do. Now, I've spent 12 plus years if I had to aggregate it in the email space in different forms. I'm giving away my age a little bit here. I'm not that old, but I've been in it for a while. And I'll speak about that journey shortly. But I've also, and this is the interesting part, started exactly where you are, right? I don't believe that you can study email at a university. It's a module if you do a marketing degree, right? It's a small something that they touch on in various learning formats, but I don't think anyone ever grows up wanting to be an email marketer, right? We're all wanting to be game rangers or astronauts or physicists. I don't think anyone intends to go into email. They wind up there almost by accident most of the time. But when you stick, there is something that you learn, and that's that the email community is an amazing space. There are some of the best people in the space. They're the most supportive. They look after one another. And it's one of the reasons that I'm very happily accidentally fell into it. It's one of the things that attracted me to it. And it's one of the biggest reasons for the learning and what I've experienced is that community itself. So you're not, if you're thinking of moving into the email space, moving into something that is necessarily difficult. Yes, it can be, but it's easier because you have a good support group. That's the way I see it, right? So I started with no knowledge. I started not knowing anything about email, and a fair time later, I've done an extensive amount of work across the globe to say I actually understand email, but every day something new comes about. So that's the beauty of it. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm beginning, right? I didn't think about this at all when moving into my career. I actually started in sales. I started in sales admin. I was a telesales rep when I first took my first job. And I'm sure if any of you have dealt in that space, you know how difficult it is. It's a rejection game, right? You're getting on the phone, you're trying to sell someone, and I was selling newspaper ads at the time, trying to sell someone ad spots in a classified newsletter, like newspaper. That was where I began. And it's one of those tasks that we were tasked to do in the space, right? You got to send people quotes and proposals, and very often I was sending the same thing that the competitors were sending, right? Here's a quote, I want you to advertise, here's why you should, and done. And that got my brain cogs turning. How can I do this differently, right? I'm sending everyone an email with a quote or a proposal or trying to sell them something. How can I position myself differently to the people that are doing the same thing so that people part with their money? And email wound up being that thing, right? And I mentioned here that I started with sales, and everything we do is actually selling ourselves. If you're in the space, you'll realize that if you're taking on a job or a role, if you're taking on a project or a task, the person that's requiring that is needing you to sell yourself to them to be able to execute on that. Every time you're attracting a client, every time you're trying to keep a client, all of that is a sales function. Right, so email and sales are very interrelated, not just because you're sending stuff that people need to sign, but at the end of the day, what you're doing in email is positioning a product or a value offering or a service that buys someone's attention. And I want you to keep that in mind for later when you start learning the practicality of email. One of the things you're going to be doing is selling. And it's one of those underrated skills that the inbox can teach you that you don't necessarily have to start as a salesperson to learn. Okay, so let's chat about that journey briefly and give you my sort of path. Essentially, the idea behind email was to build a place of authority and immerse myself in the practice, right? If you think 10, 12 years ago, email was seen as brand sending something so that you could buy from them, right? I took that premise and I said, okay, cool. Let me find something that I can use to send these emails that stand out to the people that I'm trying to sell newspaper ads to. And that's kind of my first journey into the space. I kicked off I think it was a MailChimp account way back. It was a free account as well. And I'd take an email address from someone I'd spoken to. If they said no to me, I'd send them an email, a creative looking email. At the time I thought it was creative. Now it looks horrendous, but I sent them an email to say, hey, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Here's my face. I put a little picture of myself in the middle of that. And I said, if you ever need anything, or you're ever looking to turn your brand into revenue, I'd love you to advertise with me. And I built up a database. I only sent one email. I built up a database at the time. And of those emails, 3 months later, 6 months later, people remembered that little thing that I did differently in the space, and they came back to me. And it was also my first journey into things like deliverability. Remember, sending an email doesn't necessarily mean you're going to wind up in the inbox. I learned that the hard way. I had to cycle through 2 or 3 different domains and do all the technical stuff. But how better to learn than to actually get immersed in it, right? That's what I was doing. I was immersing myself in that practice. And there are tons of email platforms out there. The reason I'm talking about the starting point is because you can sign up to your favorite. You can sign up to the one that makes sense for you. The goal is to start building an audience and practicing. That's how I did it in the first place. Now, where did it go from there, right? It's one of those things that I stuck to. And over time, in that specific role, I worked myself up. And one of the projects I was tasked in taking over, because I actually understood email from my little self-practice, was to help build an email product, right? All of these classifieds people were essentially going, we're building an audience of people using our platform. We can put our clients' products in front of this audience and sell that audience's eyes to advertisers. How do we go about doing this? There's, email sorted out. That was the idea. And that was what I was tasked to do. How do I take people that are using this platform? How do I take people that are essentially in that audience? And how do I marry the two together? And thankfully, through that learning, I'd already had the experience of going, okay, cool. I understand how email works in its basic form. I understand what goes into an email to make it sell a little bit better. Let me lead the program. And I was with that organization for approximately 7 years. And that email wound up going out eventually at the point that I left to over 1.2 million people on a weekly basis. So it started with me sending one-to-one emails to get to that point over a 7-year period. It wasn't a quick journey by any means. I didn't have anyone teaching me this stuff. I was learning watching YouTube videos, and we didn't have people like Henry around who were willing to give this information out so that people could actually learn and grow. And especially here in South Africa, we've been a little bit behind the curve. And here in Africa, we kind of get neglected in the international sphere. They're gearing up things for the Western world, and we get left behind. So at the end of the day, the idea was, okay, cool. Where do I take this? Where do I go? And what do I do with this? And that is where I get to the going deep, right? So where I mentioned going deep, and sorry, my screen seems to have cut out there. Where I mentioned going deep is at the end of that 7-year journey, I went into working at a African email platform. That was kind of where I went into. And the goal was to head up the sales role. I eventually became a director of that organization. But the idea was, how do I build African email infrastructure so that at the end of the day, we can be seen on the international sphere? And they're doing really well. They built some good international relationships. And it's the feedback that I got from building these products, both the good and the bad feedback, gave me the learning that enabled me to take that role. Right. And there are now 3 or 4 local, I say local being South Africa, these are growing into Africa, email platforms that are fully African. And that space is full of untapped potential, right? As international platforms emerge, there are also tons of those emerging locally. And that's where the going deep is. And where it's led to in terms of this point is, and I just want to click through to the next slide over here, full-time in email. I now run 3 email businesses. I have built a world of digital expertise around that because email doesn't just live in its own little environments. It's impacted by the social media sphere. It's impacted by what's happening on the search engines. It's impacted what's happening with AI, right? And having that experience has led me to be able to build clients all over the globe, run those businesses successfully. And as you can see, it's a task that started with me trying to use email to further myself that has led to me running a couple of email businesses. So it's completely possible, right? You don't need the experience, you need the practice. And I think that's the starting point of what we want to speak about today is how do we practice this art? Because email is actually an art. One of the things I see in the space, especially those in the virtual assistant space or in the personal help space, is that you're very often doing this email work already, right? You're engaging with clients, you're running tasks, you're very often tasked to send emails. You're just not paid like a professional email marketer. And that's the problem, right? You want to be able to position yourself with skill set enough to say, okay, cool, I need to be paid the correct amount for this. And you'll maybe realize this, right? You're sending newsletters at 2 a.m. because the boss said, hey, we need to get a newsletter out to our audience. Or you're setting up campaigns because someone's got an email account and says, use this. Someone's got a CRM. They say, use this. You're doing fragments of email work, but you haven't been taught the skills, right? You haven't created that network or you haven't created that audience, and you're not being paid the rates of a specialist. That's the critical part, and that's what you want to be able to change. So how do we transition from a generalist or a VA into an email specialist? There are a couple of things, right? If you look at your role specifically, very often what happens is VAs are tasked with things like sending campaigns. When they ask you, you don't own the strategy. The strategy is given to you and essentially said, cool, send this, right? You're paid hourly and you're paid on general admin-based rates. You're not paid as a specialist. What very often happens in that space is that you become interchangeable, which means replaceable. And that's what you want to avoid in becoming a specialist, right? You're learning the tools reactively on each client being different. You're not necessarily building up that skill set over time. And yes, you may be, but you don't necessarily understand the why. Why are we doing this? And with AI, it's becoming even more apparent because at the end of the day, it's starting to own that space as well, right? And as with anything, there's no specialist network or reputation that you're building. You're doing all the work behind the scenes. And I'm sure if I had to look at the comments now, there'd be a couple of people, if I could see some faces that would be nodding their head and saying, yep, that's me, right? So where do we want to be from here? And this is the picture I want to paint. As a specialist, and as an email specialist in particular, the first thing that you're doing is owning the strategy. You're the brain behind what works. And there are so many different aspects of email. I'm mentioning a couple here, things like segmentation. What goes into dividing your audience so that the message you send resonates with that specific audience? I mentioned deliverability earlier. Now, there are a couple of acronyms that go into the email world in the technical sense that ensure an email gets from a system to an inbox. You need to understand what goes into that environment because you're going to be dictating the people that you're sending emails on behalf of to say, look, this is the reason we're not getting a response from those. There are things like CRM records and managing data and the way that data feeds between systems. As an email specialist, those become bread and butter. Those are the things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. And once you understand that environment, it becomes a lot easier, right? The advantage of this, however, is that you get paid as a specialist or you get paid on retainer. You're not being paid hourly. That's the goal. That's where you want to transition to. And you want to be known for a specific skill set because at the end of the day, even AI can't replace highly specified skills. Yes, there are certain spaces it may take over. Yes, there are certain spaces that may have less impact, but I cannot speak to my computer and say, send an email and make sure that everything works, right? AI is not at that point, and I don't believe it's going to get to that point in the near future. So this is one of those safer spaces. That's the great part. There are too many moving parts in email for AI to take over right now. The other element about this is you're trained on the tools before the client needs it. You're able to tell the client what tools and what type of tools they need to be using before they need it. That's the positioning you want. And the best part about this, and I spoke about it earlier, is the email community, right? Becoming part of that community means a network. It means support. It means referral business. One of the biggest ways I generate business is through the partners I work with in the email sphere. There are problems that we can solve together. There are problems that certain of them cannot solve that I step in and solve. that becomes your advantage. That's the moat that you're building around yourself to say, okay, cool, I'm a specialist. This is what I own. Alrighty. Now, what is that shift worth, right? And these are directional. These are based on some research that I've done. They vary by region. They vary by client. And the advantage for us, and this is a really underrated thing, but the advantage for us is that we are closer to the US than Asia is. We are far closer to Europe than Asia is as well. And we've got the time zones to our advantage. We've got an opportunity here to be able to work with the two wealthiest parts of the globe from an email perspective that are English speaking, which makes our lives a lot easier. And that's something that is advantageous when you contrast where most virtual assistant or specialist work goes to, and that's into Asia, right? So we've got an advantage for us. But if you look at the mix, and this is the tricky part, as a general VA, you're earning on the top end, roughly $50 hourly, and at the bottom end, $5 or even less, but you don't want to race to the bottom. It's one of those cautions that Henry mentioned earlier. As soon as you start racing down to the first dollar, you're just costing yourself time. And if you can position yourself well with the specialist skill set, you can charge more. And this is where you're beginning, right? Where you want to be and where you want to grow into is something like freelance email. Freelance email is still a thing. It doesn't just happen for direct to consumer brands. One of the spaces I'm finding a lot of success in is B2B brands. Everyone is chasing after e-commerce email. It's a very saturated space, but B2B email is far more complex, right? B2B email means you need to adjust what you're doing as a specialist to very specific industries. You're not just trying to sell to mass market. And B2B email is actually where the email retainer space is going to help you win, because you're able to charge monthly, you're able to charge on projects per client, and what you're able to charge, even at the bottom end, is far higher than what you're able to charge from a virtual assistant space as a specialist. But the ideal gold standard, and this is where we all want to grow, is a full-time remote specialist, right? This is the creme de la creme of email, essentially, right? You're salaried, you've got a global employer, and if this is the trajectory you want to take, the average range for a professional email specialist that's employed within the US or within the UK sits between $43,000 and $95,000 a year. And as an email business or agency, it's probably triple that if you have a couple of clients on your books. So the potential is there. What I'm trying to show you is that the potential is there provided you put in the work. And today's session is not to teach you email. I don't believe 2 hours is enough to even teach you just the basics, right? And Henry's going to run you through some of those points. It's a very, like I said, deep rabbit hole. There are so many things that go into it. But if you do it well, and if you commit yourself and put in the time, the potential for life-changing money in email still exists. And that's the opportunity we've got here, is to leverage that. Now, one of the things I want to mention is the gap between those three is exactly where your opportunity lies, right? The skill is the same as the effort you're already putting in. You're just naming it and positioning it differently. So you're already aggregating these skills. You're already doing some of this work. How do you enable yourself well enough to be able to take yourself into the space of freelance email retainer work? And how do you position yourself through those skills that you're aggregating to become a full-time email specialist? That's where you want to be. And this is the potential you've got in the space. Okay. Now, where can this path take you? And I'm painting a picture of an ideal world, but there are a couple of things here, right? We've spoken about freelance retainers. You know, balancing multiple clients who are paying you by the hour, having ad hoc needs means you're out of control of your time. With email retainer business, you've got an opportunity here to own an email strategy, to own a program, to own the sending, to own the reporting, to even own the design if you're skilled enough. And it gives you an opportunity to dictate the size of client you work with. And this is where you're ideally looking to build. I've mentioned agency or contract work. So I work with a performance marketing team called Prebo Digital, where I own the email lane with all of the clients that come through. And we've got a couple of global brands, some global initiatives, and all of the email work gets siloed to me because despite the team being ex-Google employees, despite the team leading multi-million-dollar organizations, none of them have that email niche skill set. So what happens is I have a fantastic opportunity that anytime that comes through, my value in the team gets cemented because no one else can have that conversation. And that's the advantage of building in this space. Even if you enter a team that doesn't necessarily just focus on email, email is very often the glue that holds all of those things together. If you open up a social media account, they're going to ask for an email address. If you're in it could be any business, right? Email is the predominant form of communication. And I know Ilana will speak about this from a lifecycle perspective, but email is one of those things that happens at almost every point of business interaction, right? So if you understand that space, you're able to own it, and you're able to become the person that people depend on to own it. That's where you want to be, right? Full-time remote roles, those are completely available. Those are advantageous because we sit in the same time zone, especially as Europe, right? We sit within 6 hours of the East Coast of the US, or 5 hours if you're in Nigeria. So the advantage here is that there are roles that are available. People are far more open to remote, and you get salaried benefits of a single employer. That's kind of where you want to be as you transition. And then you're building your own name, right? So this is how I've gone about it. I've built a newsletter, I've practiced, and then I've built a community around that. I've built a personal brand around that. It's the email advice in your inbox path, right? I'm owning my own agency around what I do in email. And that's the kind of path that you can take dependent on the timeline you set around that. So if you're looking at your trajectory, the first thing you want to be doing, and that's why you're here, is loading the basics. This is where it all begins. Like with anything, you need a foundation, right? And those basics lead to what you're wanting to aim for over the next 30 to 90 days is finding your first paid email client. And again, pick what you're good at, pick what you're comfortable with, understand that space, immerse yourself. Those paid clients are out there, right? There's Fiverr, there's Upwork, there are a ton of people across those sectors looking for email, but there are also heaps of opportunities around that. And LinkedIn's one of those great places to start. Social media is a great place to start. There are constant requests for people that need email specialists. Why? Because they understand that they can send an email, but that's not just what goes into it. Sending an email that creates returns is a very different ballgame. And as you build into that over the next 6 months in this year, you're building a specialist reputation through the work that you're doing. And when you enter the new year, the idea is to aim for retainer or full-time offers. That's the trajectory that this can take you on. And that's where you're looking to go. So there's no fixed timeline, right? This is realistic within 2026. If you start working on this now, if you start putting your practice into play, if you start investing the hours, but that investment turns into a proof of work. You're building a portfolio in the background. You're building client case studies. You're building testimonials, the things that people trust. That's what you want to start building immediately, and document everything you do. That would be my advice. If you're already in the space sending emails, document that. If you're a VA or an assistant that is currently sending emails on behalf of someone else, document that. Document the successes if you can. Monitor the results from that if you can. Those things become ammunition later on to be able to help you buy clients. That's the idea, right? But every specialist needs to start with learning the basics, and that's where you go with this. So where do you take that? One of the places that you can learn the basics, and this is by no means a shameless self-promotion, but this newsletter is what I invest my heart and soul in. This is my love child. It funds itself really well through the right types of sponsors. I'm very meticulous about finding brands that help the people within the community. But it's a free community newsletter. I'm actually opening up a interactive community over the next couple of weeks where people will be able to build chats out of that. People will be able to build breakout groups out of that. I want people to really learn the solid basics of email. This is what I'm passionate about. This is the thing I spend a far more time than I should on because I care about this email space. And this is where I'd like you to begin. I have a welcome sequence that's going to span a couple of days if you do join, that are going to probably bombard you with a ton of resources, right? So how do you grow an audience? I've got a 50+ page document that's going to send your way. How do you find good newsletters to listen to and learn from? I've got a list of over 200 that you can pick from. What tools do I recommend? What resources do I recommend? What free tools? I'm big on doing things free. Guys, we don't earn in dollars here, we earn in rands. So anytime that I can do something free, I'm going to do it. I've got a ton of free tools in that as well. So if you do care to join, I will make it worth your while. And if you don't enjoy anything, I'm one of those people that loves direct feedback. So this would be a starting point. And if you do run a newsletter, or if you're looking for newsletters that are some of my favorites, Crosslet is one of those things. It's only about 4 months old now, so it's one of the newer aspects to the stable, but we're getting newsletters listing themselves weekly, right? So if you want to find great newsletters to partner with, you want to just find great newsletters to sign up to, if you want to find a place where as you build your email environment, you can attract sponsorship or find email platforms or tools or things to make your life easier, this is what this platform is turning into. It's not paid, it's free. It will always be free. That's one of the promises we made when we built it. And the idea here is to help you find the right types of things to listen to. Okay, so there's a heap that goes in. I am cognizant of time. I think I've probably spent more than I should, but if you do want to connect, there's a couple of links. There is my personal email address. If you have any questions, you can reach out. I'd love you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I do share a lot there, from email knowledge to what I'm finding in the industry to memes every Friday. If you're up for a laugh, I think my sense of humor is terrible, but yeah. The idea is, it speaks for itself, and there's a lot of potential in the space. So I hope I've painted a picture of what's possible. And Henry, thank you for the opportunity. I do sincerely appreciate that.
Thank you. Please, I don't know if it's just you, but I got a ton of value from this. So if you actually found this as incredible as I did, or even more than I did, please, I want to see some reactions in the comments, please. Let's go, because this gave out so much. The Crossletter is there for you. And you want to network? Okay. Please reach out to him. I think you can leave your maybe your link to your LinkedIn, maybe in the chat. Someone, there are people who are interested to connecting with you on LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Let me do this.
All right.
Because I see I need to connect YouTube. I haven't done that. I apologize. I'm going to stop sharing and share again, and then I'll bring my LinkedIn link up on screen. I think that might be the easiest way to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love for you guys to connect with me. Let me tab over there, and then you can see where to connect with me on LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you very much. So, well, like I said, it was an incredible session. Well, I told you earlier enough. So I hope you got a couple of things, particularly the fact that the industry is headed where you are currently is headed, and the opportunity therein for you. Something that said really stuck with me, and it's the fact that emails is a full-time career. I mean, emails for life, honestly, like for as long as ever. When I discovered someone who has over 20 years in the industry, I'm like, all right, no problem. I think I'm here to stay with, because people are building their lives here, right? And it's a career ladder. So it's not just about you're doing maybe freelance roles, you're in and out here and there, but you're growing. So you're moving from a specialist to a senior email marketer to an email marketing director, and it's a career path, right? So it's incredible. Okay, it's not just to jump around roles, get paid per hour. And he said something very, very beautiful, that you're looking towards having a retainer. If there's anything that beats emails for me, it's the fact that it's a retainer role. So I'm always confident, right? All I just have to do is get sharp at my skills, deliver better results, and stay right? Stay with my clients, keep delivering results because definitely it's what it's what the time. I really love how transformative emails can be, or how transformative your emails can be when used right. So I've also seen I've also seen something where there's a client that I reworked some flows for, and within that should be like within some days, about 5 days. He sent me a message and I was like, "Oh, the flows are generating so much money already." I'm like, "Yes, I know, sir. I know. Thank you." I was expecting them to do that, right? So he did have some particular flows, and it's an e-commerce brand. And yeah, that reminds me. The last thing I want to point out, they said something really remarkable. And I'm taking that one personally. I'm definitely coming over to the B2B side of things because it's a very incredible industry, right? It's an interesting industry. Yeah. So I want to really get hands-on experience with more with the B2C and DTC space. But the B2B it's incredible. It's very specific, and I love what's happening there. So yeah. So if you're looking to building a career, not just getting jobs here, jumping around jobs, this is where you need to be. So that's thank you so much for an incredible presentation. Sincerely appreciate you. Please join Cross.
Thank you,
Please
Henry.
follow Cross. Get subscribe to Email Expert Africa. Like I said, it helps me. It's helping my career. If just like they said, Inbox Zero. I'm a big fan of Inbox Zero, and Des, I think I still have your last email on read. So until I'm done with what I'm still going to read. So until I don't open it until I'm ready to read, right? So that's how I do, right? Right, I don't mark emails as read. So once they come in, I keep them until I'm ready to read, and once I'm settled, I make out time to read. That's how valuable this emails are. Like I have to tell our email marketer, go and see what this is doing over there, and please go and get ideas, right? So it's beautiful, right? It's a world of experience for you, especially if you're just starting out. Yeah. So that's thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you.
Thank you, Henry. An absolute pleasure.
You're right. Okay. So who is excited? Who is still here? Who's still looking forward to hearing Lana speak and a couple of others? Who's here? If you're still here, let me know. Let me know. Or have you actually left us and gone to do some weekend fun things? Please, I really don't want anyone to do that. So if you're here, I want you to stay through because there's a world of things to get from here. Okay, we have people who are here. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. All right. So would have a live tour with one ESP, and the intent is to let us discuss a couple of things that are really relevant. So I want to help show you how that's going to work like. So you'll be able to put what you've heard into practice. That's the whole point, right? You've heard a lot of things. You're going to be getting much more resources. It's a question of how do I start? Now you know where to start. Now, how do you start? So that's what we'll be having right away. And before that, I want to talk about someone who has walked this path already. So this is one of our members at More Than Just News, and she kicked off her journey 2 months ago in email marketing. So she used to be a sales and customer support rep, and now she's into emails full time, and she's loving it, right? So it's putting her on her toes first, and this happened within 2 months. So she's working with her clients first, with her first client as an email marketer, and it's putting her on her toes right now, and she's loving the experience. Like Des said, there's so many moving parts in emails, so many of them, right? So you need to find what speaks the whole lot to you. I'm on the strategy side, big time, right? The design side, well, not very big still, but the strategy side of course, automations, segmentation, and the rest of them, yeah, really beautiful stuff going on there. So this is ecom Raphael, and you could be someone like this, right? Within 2 months, getting access, getting your clients. Many of you already have these clients sitting with you. You speak to them every single day, but you just don't know that you could actually offer the services to them. You should actually help them with this thing. So that's what we're doing here, and that has really touched on that. So yeah, so we'll be going into one of the tools I use. That's MailerLite, right? So oh, sorry about that. Oh, I wasn't sharing my screen earlier. Okay, so we'll be going into one of the tools I use, and that will be MailerLite. So I want us to buckle up. So I'll walk us through a world of things. It will be really simple. It will be really straight to the point, and I expect you to come back to this session way after it's done to get this. 1 minute, please. Okay. Um, okay, so let me know when you've seen it. I guess you should be able to now. Okay. All right. I think you should be able to right now. Okay, so this is MailerLite. So this is one of the tools we use. Yeah, like this. Yeah, oh, there's the world of them out there. Right? What is one of the ones we use very frequently? So we're walking you through where you can make how you can make use of this. So if you're looking for people, so like I said earlier, there are a world of them, right? So you need to pick what's you there's like I said earlier. I talked about a couple of guides that you will be receiving. One of them would actually detail this. So how to pick the right needs. Okay, so there are tools for B2B, tools for B2C, and the rest of them. Okay, so what you want to do first is to type, so you search for MailerLite wherever you are. Then of course it's Mailer with a important you create to help you become proficient when you begin to handle the client's account. Yeah. So we'll walk through this, right? You should be able to log in if you sign up for that. It's really, really simple. Put in your details and you continue with the rest of the thing. Okay. I wasn't expecting this. Sorry, 1 minute reject. So sign into your MailerLite account. Uh, okay, so we're still trying to sign up. So it's taking some time. So when I already have an account, right? So it automatically. Oh, okay. So he didn't. I was expecting it you can create one and have your email address. Okay, yeah. So that's it. Have your email address, your password, your name. Agree to the terms. You should read the terms if you want to, and that's it really, right? That's it. Then you sign up. Yeah, you have an account, and voila, it should be somewhere here. So having a dashboard, you can see everything will be very fresh, very new. We've used fresh here. You have the dashboard, subscribers, campaigns, automations, and a couple of other things. I promise you, you don't need to be scared. These are simple, straight to the point tools, right? And one of them is your subscribers. So these are people who want to hear you. Some of you are going to sign up to Crossletter, sign up to Email Expert Africa, and you're going to automatically become a subscriber. So the same thing happens also when people want to hear from you, right? This is what they do. So they become subscribers. You see all the subscribers you have. Sorry, 1 minute. I think I was signed. I got signed out. So let me quickly fix this. Okay, so what has happened? About 675 of them. Segments, fields. If you're tracking different things, and you could also see the history of maybe your behaviors. If you've deleted anything, you could always come back here to change that. And you can also add subscribers if you have people you want to bring in. There are a couple of ways to do that. Right then, you have campaigns. And what are campaigns? The emails you send out to people, right? I believe some of more that's what you send to people to get them to, carry out some actions that you intend for them. Okay. And I'm also breaking this down because so I expect you to come back to this video, go through what we've done, and then be able. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know. Am I still very much audible? Am I still very much audible? Please, I want someone to indicate I'm very much audible. Okay. Anyone at all? Anyone hear me clearly?
Sorry, Henry, what was the question?
Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. You do break up sometimes, but not. Yeah, you've been clearer now for a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. So now, so these are campaigns. These are what you send out to people, and for people who have maybe handled a couple of emails for clients, would go deeper into campaigns so that you understand what you're doing and know how to do them better. So we'll recreate one campaign and then we'll work with that. So you have automation. These are tools you build to follow up on people based on different behaviors, right? So I have one which I put together for this event, and you have forms, right? You have forms, maybe I believe we've all right, either it's a landing page or it's what's the name now? Or it's maybe a pop-up form, maybe you're on a website and then something jumps at you, and then you asking you to fill in your email and your phone number or maybe your first name, as the case might be. Right. So that's what you have with sites. Also do that too. Now, I'd like to introduce a new feature called product. I think this came in sometime last quarter, right? So and it's used so you can if you have maybe a client who sells stuff like a D2C, they could sell their products directly in MailerLite, right, instead of posting on their platforms. Okay, that's one way to go about it. I mean, like digital products rather, bookings and all of these things, membership subscriptions. Yeah, so they could have these things right for you. Of course, by maybe you should know what that does. But our focus would be on campaigns, how they get, what you want them to see. Okay, so is this a free version? Yeah, yeah. No, this is a paid version actually. MailerLite has a free version that you can work with, and also you can what's the name? There are a couple of other tools: Email Octopus, Brevo, Sendex. There's one of them that have robust free plans. I think MailerLite now has should be a 14-day free trial, right? So that go way beyond that, like free for life, for instance. Yeah. So so we'll walk through sending out campaigns, and so these are a couple of campaigns I've seen, and you would see different campaign types: regular campaign, an A/B test, where you compare two campaign variants, two variations of your email to see what they look like and find out which would perform best or better rather. You have various campaigns for your website, your blog, auto resend. Maybe someone you send out an email and then you give people a second chance to open your email once more. Multivariate if you're to optimize our sends and make them better. So that's that. But once we use a regular campaign for this, okay, and there are ways you could go about it. You could either create from scratch, you could use a template gallery. They're like or pre-built tools that Mailite, but you think, okay, maybe this would work. You could jump on it, make use of it. Right, so there's a world of them for different reasons. So based on recent emails, so if you sent out emails in the past, you could just plug like us to start from scratch because it's going to help, right? So these two are already pre-built. Okay, so we'd like to start from scratch and build something really, really good. And if you're starting from scratch, you could use the drag and drop editor, which we are going to use, or the simple editor for your seamless emails. Just writing texts and fixing things together. Or you could, if you're into coding, if you know how to use, if you know your way around codes, then you could use the HTML editor to write your emails, which I actually go to drag and drop. So you just need to pay attention to a couple of things, right? So that you'll be able to apply these things on your own, run tests on your own, learn, see how these things work, and how you could make the most out of them. Right, that's the whole point. So let's see what we have, and let's see how we get started. Create this particular email. So once we create this particular, so this is an email I've sent for client, and we want to recreate this using drag and drop editor. So this is an email that has gone out. Okay, so you would learn the basics, the basic parts of an email. This is called your logo and navigation tab. This is your head. This is your footer. You have a headline, you have text, you have a button, and if you take a look at this, it's in reverse though, but very similar. So you have the logo, you have text, you have images, you have that. Okay, so I hope we are all together at this point. Okay, someone is asking if I'm going to do a practical. Oh, we're actually doing a practical already. We're already doing a practical, so we're going to recreate an email right now. Yeah. So don't worry about that. I hope that answers your question. So I'll pick up the various sections, build of this looks like, and then recreate it over there. So I have my logo, it's there already. So then I have text here. So I want to get a text block. You go to elements, you would see text, you put drag, that's why it's called drag and drop. You can move it around, you place it, you write you write the content of the email. So would make use of this since we want to recreate this already. And would change swap that with this. So make it just look really good. Right. Okay. So we have this. We have a text block already. Now we have an image right here, and want to add an image. So you also go to the same element. You look, have you able to add images? Okay. And we have one here already. So this is an image block. So we'll add it below the text, and we'll select our image because we can't leave it like this. So we'll select, look for what works. Okay, so you'll be able to upload from your device if you have it saved there, or if you have it saved within MailerLite. So I don't have it saved here, so I have to go and upload it from my device directly. And you pick it from your device. So let's see. Where do I have that email right now? Okay. So let's see. All right. Okay, so I've gotten them. So they're going to populate right here, and then we'll upload them one after the other. That's the case, maybe. So while that's happening, then you want to. So we have another text block after the image, and then we have a button. We have another image after that, and it's over. So this whole part of the email would be automatically replaced. So your ESPs already knows what to do with that, and it sends that in. Right. So that's why that was the first thing you saw, because it's already pre-built. Okay. No, my images are, it's already, okay, still going, still halfway. Okay. All right. So select, because it's taking a lot of time. So I think I'm gonna have to make use of maybe this one first for the time being. I'd like to make use of this first. So it saves time for us while it still gets uploaded. Maybe I'll find something else to send. It's taking so much time. I'm very blocking this. Okay. Let's make use of this while that happens. So once you select the image you want to make use of, it automatically populates. It just drops in here, and then you go back to what you want to recreate with. So you have to be able to do this. Then the next is your text. So you have text that follow after this image, and you want to put that right here. So you pick the text block under the image section. Copy the text here, and yeah, you drop it. Okay, so we have another image block afterwards, and since we don't have that one ready, we could still pick our image block and add it beneath this. So we'll leave it here for now. and then would fill it up with the right image until so that it doesn't consume so much time. Then we have text underneath that before the footer. So this is the end of the email here, right here. The whole all this part, like I said, the footer of the bottom of the email, and these ones they automatically get filled using. So that's what you have right here. Yeah, so that's different. Okay, so our text block for text. Okay, add content of the text. So we have something else. One last thing, and that's the social link. So if you saw that there were links to various um, social media platforms, so I want to also recreate that, and would still go to elements, look for that. Okay, so we have links right here, and put them. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to change this. So we'll go to footer, search for what can work. So we have social links here. So these are social links. So we'll pick a social link. And then we'll drop it right in there. Just like in there. So put it here. You can choose. You don't need to keep the text because they already know what it looks like. So we have this. So we are almost done with this. So let's get our. Okay, we'll be able to upload. Okay, I think one of them was able to one of them uploaded. Okay, so we're replacing that with this, right? Okay. So you can see okay, let's change this outside. Yeah, it's done inside Miller Lite. We are currently inside Miller Lite right now. Yes, we are. So it's all happening. So once you it's actually the same system across ESPs, right? So that's why I'm taking it this way. It's the same. It works the same across ESPs, right? So if you're using a drag and drop particularly, which is what we walk through, you could make use of that. Same elements work. So when you're done with what email looks like, you check for spelling errors, making sure that everything looks really good. Let's visualize this. Okay. So there's something called preview. So you can when you preview, like you preview a movie or like you watch like a trailer, or that's something like that. So you're able to look and see, okay, how does this email look like before it gets to the person you're sending it to? So does it look good? Is it are there mistakes here and there, or do you need to maybe work on something else? And a good side of it is you could always check for desktop and mobile. So how does it render on desktop? How does it render on mobile? So that people see what it looks like, right? So we're looking at what the email looks like. You see there's a lot of space right here. That you see that there are spaces. So we'll go back. We'll click on the various blocks that have those spaces. So you see that there are a lot of spaces right here. And this is where you can change that, what's called padding. So it's better now. Change and still look good. All right. See if it looks good now for Sunday. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I think it does look good. Has this actually corrected? Okay, let's take one more look. All right, there it's slowly. So I don't think it's affected these changes. It hasn't. This actually looks good to go out to someone. Then you could also try sending a test email. So someone you know, maybe or yourself. I only like to send to myself, or someone who you know would give you a bird's eye view of what you've done, and then you send it to them. So you send them a test. They would get it, give you a review. If it looks good, if something looks broke, and that's very important. So let's add our button because we missed that. So and this is it. So we'll drag this. I think we have this. So we'll add the link. If you have a link that the button goes to, let's see. So I think there's one here. Get it, and so we'll link it here. Insert link. And we'll put it. Okay. Then we change this to the actual text on the button. Okay, for instance, so this is it. I think we're good right now. So when you're done and if you've previewed and you send the test, then you could hit done editing to get it. Let's see what we have now. Okay. So okay. So it takes you to this place where you choose who you want to send, right? Add up the rest, the parts of the email that is missing, and then put it out. Push it out to whoever needs to get it. So I want to do one last preview to make sure we're really, really. Okay. So in our preview, so I would recommend you have a list of people who you don't send to. Mostly people who would be able to understand that okay, you're trying to run a test, you're trying to try things out, right? I recommend you start with that. Okay, so I don't send to people who will actually be paying for your emails. Okay, so yeah, so send maybe to friends, get a list of friends, family, and then run a couple of tests with with them with using their emails. Get them to give you their emails. Then you try a couple of things out. So see what it looks like. Then they give you feedback. I believe they'll be more generous with feedback, right? Without it looking maybe let's say without breathing down your neck on how bad it looks or something of the sort. Yeah. So you want to take note of that, please. Okay. So you name your campaign. We call this test campaign. If you're familiar with this, say maybe call it test subject also. Then sender would definitely be yourself with your email address, the pre your subject line. So I would say maybe give me a review on this email. Then send to, so you can choose who you want to send to, and then you send to them. Okay, so then it's ready. You can still preview if you think something is broken, and then you continue to either schedule or send. So you can send it right away. You could send it later, or you can send it based on time zone. So maybe if you have people, maybe friends who are from different countries at the moment, you could send to all of them, using time zone so that it gets to them right at the time you want it to get to them. So for this, we'll use send later. So it goes out when we much later. Let's say tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, that's the right away. I would schedule it. Okay, all right. So it will be in your outbox, and that's for the emails that are already scheduled to send at a particular time. Yeah. Okay. So and with that you're done. So that should be your very first email test, and you should be able to pull this through. So what you want to do is come back to me highlight after this. You can pick me highlight as a tool, and you can decide, okay, maybe I'm going to use this, maybe I'm going to use that or that tool, and I work with that. So yeah. So this is what you're looking towards, and once you're able to send this, you will definitely make a couple of mistakes, right? But it gets easier with time. So as you're sending, you'll begin to see patterns and understand what you're doing better. And then, okay, you can now begin to send better emails, learn better using the regional resources that you have access to, maybe trainings, programs, and then putting them into practice. So, so that's that. So we've walked through one email campaign. There's still a whole lot of things to do, but this is one good step, one good place to start from here. So if you've ever sent an email or you're curious to see what sending an email looks like, then you want to start with this. All right. So yeah, so that's that. So do we have any questions before we before we go over to Ilana? Do we have any questions before that? Any questions? Okay. So who is looking to running a test with an ESP or with an email service provider? Who is looking to trying something out? Are we still here? Do we have people who are still on the live? Or have we all gone? Oh my, oh my, oh my. I think you've all gone. Good Lord. Okay. Interesting. All right. So one of our speakers has also joined us. Okay, we have someone who is here. One of our speakers has also joined and would be listening and hearing. Okay, we have someone who is also here. Okay, we have people who are here. Oh, thank goodness, we have people who are still here. That's good. So yeah, so you'll be able to recreate and do this yourself as the time as you keep making sending out. Okay, and hear all the incredible things she has for us, like because there's a world of things that Diana has for us right here. So before we listen to Diana quickly, like I promised earlier, I'll be sending the first document that you need to recreate this on your own and then also make use of it. Yeah, alongside that. So I'll be sending that in the email. So check your emails, look forward to that, and then let me know if you've gotten yours, so that I'll be sure that it actually went through to you. Okay, so let's listen to Ilana. Let's hear very incredible things that she has for us. So I'm going to introduce Ilana first, and like I said at the beginning of this session, that Ilana really has a special place in my heart, right? Because she's really impacted my community, and it's something I hold very, very dear, right? So I would introduce the very special guests that we have, and I want you to really pay attention, and then just like you did when Des was speaking, get the incredible things that you're going to get and make the most out of, right? So Ilana is a CRM and retention specialist for DTC brands, and she's based in South Africa with a career that spans over 15 years in the email marketing industry. And she went from graphic design to loyalty marketing to becoming a specialist in life cycle and retention marketing. So that's actually a very big move, moving from graphic designs to loyalty marketing and then finally being in the email space. So she's worked across agency and in-house environment. She's managed CRM strategy for international brands, including Osprey, as well as across multiple industries like health and wellness industry, the skincare, the fashion brands. She's currently driving customer lifecycle strategy at Edinburgh Niche Natural Skincare Company. So she's actually specializing here and turning one-time buyers into loyal customers, which I mean is what every business wants. So Ilana specializes in mapping the full customer journey across e-commerce stores to identify the moments that matter the most, engineering the right message at the right time through the right channel. And from segmented welcome journeys to that drove a 76% increase in conversion rate. I mean, that's really, really, really high. Wow. Okay, I haven't done something like that yet, but I'm definitely going to. I'll have to do that definitely. So unique product launches that delivered 7.8 times improvement in new customer repeat rates. Her work is rooted in understanding people, not just data. So, Ilana, we are definitely leaving the floor for you to tell us what the incredible things, your incredible journey in the industry, and how people who want to break into that would be able to. So, thank you very much, Ilana, and the floor is all yours.
Hi everyone, thanks Henry. I have to say I'm a little bit happier in life cycle than I was as a designer. So thank you that I am out of the design world. So good evening everyone. Thank you again Henry. Thank you for the community that you're actually building. I think it's really fantastic, and thank you for having me. It's really amazing and it is such an honor to be here. It's really special for me to be speaking to a room full of Africans who are interested in and want to excel in the world of email marketing. A few years ago, rooms like this one didn't actually exist. And while they exist now, they're still rare in the African space. And rare, if you do see them, they're so very, very small. So it's very nice to be here tonight. When I first entered the world of email marketing, that title, life cycle strategist, actually didn't exist. While the industry has existed for a very long time, it's still relatively in its infancy. Hundreds of thousands of companies, like you said, Henry, are waking up and they're looking at the data and they're realizing that the most important and economical thing to do is compound on the customers they have already paid to acquire. And the technique chosen is own channels like email, SMS, and WhatsApp marketing. The nice thing about young industries is that they reward the people who show up early and upskill fast to fill the gap being created. If you're only touching campaigns and segmentation at a very basic assistant level right now, well, you're in luck because you've already taken the very first step of filling this gap. And believe me, there is a lot of room to grow. So tonight I'm going to show you how you can move yourself from junior to senior in this industry. And I am going to focus on what does your opportunities look like to move up? What is your realistic income path, and what will make you senior, and then what will continue to separate you from the rest? Because as I say, the industry is young, but believe me, it is maturing quite fast. So it is becoming important for us to remain competitive. Okay, so let's get into it. Right now, the road into this industry is not straight. And Des actually said exactly the same thing. I think I've seen one or maybe two LinkedIn profiles of people in the industry so far that looked like they entered this industry on purpose. So we don't need formal education yet to be considered the best of the best in this industry, because dedicated formal education for it doesn't exist. It falls under a rather large umbrella of marketing. So consequently, this industry is super hungry for skills, and they are usually finding a lack thereof when they look for it. That is good news. So I didn't study marketing. I trained as a designer, as everyone knows now. I spent almost a decade doing design work, and now I'm going to also reveal my age. And then I became the marketing manager for a multi-partner loyalty program here in South Africa, and suddenly retention strategy flooded into my life, and email, SMS, and WhatsApp became the channels that I communicated on. If you're sitting here tonight thinking or feeling like you're behind, like your path doesn't look like a proper email marketer's path, then good, because neither did mine, neither did anyone else's, and it is what it is. I'm telling you this because some of you are sending newsletters for a client right now and thinking this is admin work, but it's actually not. Your very next step into lifecycle marketing, into becoming email marketing specialists or strategists, it is right in front of you. So what are your opportunities right now as a beginner? There are two markets where we can seek opportunities to gain experience in this industry. It's local and it's international. Now, the opportunities local are still a little bit slim. They are starting to pop up though. Local companies are slowly waking up to the fact that own channels like email, SMS, and WhatsApp are the cheapest and the highest ROI way to keep customers. While this is actively happening, it is happening quite slowly, but I predict that it will accelerate quite soon. However, I don't think we should sit and wait for the local market to mature. We should be the ones maturing it, and doing things like this is maturing it. Every one of us who learns this discipline and encourages local brands to see the benefit of retention is actively creating and molding the African industry. And that's quite exciting. That realization that retention makes economic sense spreads because someone successfully demonstrates the results of it. That is how this industry will grow, with us actively molding it and driving it, not waiting politely for it to arrive. In 5 years, the people on this call tonight could be the reason that the African email, SMS, and WhatsApp marketing industry is alive, well, and exists at scale. This has made me super excited about the future of what is possible locally, because I don't know the industry locally very well. The place where I've been has been international. It is the landscape that I know the best. It's where I breathe and live with my butt very comfortably in a very beautiful country. Second to the local opportunities, the biggest opportunities I found were international. We have a lot of companies that's hiring remotely into Africa, and this is an advantage. For most of you, the realistic entry point into this industry work is agency side, and it will be more likely that you will see international agencies hiring in Africa than you will see local agencies hiring. Not because local won't hire here, but because local agencies don't yet exist at the scale that international agencies do. Retention and email agencies serving US, UK, and European e-commerce brands. Well, UK and European is the same thing, but I mean, it's different countries. But anyway, so the e-commerce brands there are hiring constantly. They hire remotely, and they're far more willing than individual brands to take on someone with basic fundamentals and a hunger rather than a decade of experience. This is probably where some of you might be at already. Although a lot of agencies are starting to automate certain parts of their internal positions, we know how AI works. There are still not enough strategists to feed this agency machine, which means if you are struggling to enter the agency space as a strategist, you can do so with multiple junior positions where you can work yourself up very easily into strategist positions. But let me be quite honest with you about the agency side. Agency work is hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You'll typically run 5 to 8 clients at once. You will probably hit 12 hours a day, multiple times a week. And I am not talking about Q4 or Black Friday, because that's complete mayhem. That's when the mayhem goes crazy. The pace is relentless. That said, I will still tell almost every one of you to do it. And I'm saying that because it's a really fast learning curve available in this industry. In 1 year agency side, you will see different ESPs. So that's Klaviyo on one client, OmniSend on another, MailChimp on another. So your skills attached to the discipline, not one tool. Shopify and BigCommerce and WooCommerce, all of them inside and out, because most of the DTC world runs on those. However, some agencies, again, don't show you that side, but some agencies do. It just depends where you're going to go. It's also, you're also going to see the whole app ecosystem around e-commerce. So that is subscription platforms, loyalty programs, reward tools, review apps, quiz builders. This is platforms like Appstore and Loop and Loyalty Line and GrowWave. It's the plumbing that real retention strategies are built on, and you're going to see a lot of different ones of them. So again, your skills are going to attach to the discipline, not the tool. Different subscriptions and loyalty models is also something you're going to see, and that's also quite exciting. The actual strategies that is in place to drive retention with these models. So that will include subscription month strategies and how they differ across industries, different types of discounting on subscriptions, different loyalty program strategies, each with completely different lifecycle logic. So you'll know which ones do what and when and how to use them. That's why the learning compounds so fast. Smaller agencies are harder work, but they are more willing to upskill you from a basic fundamental. You can enter doing execution and move up quite fast doing strategy. Bigger agencies usually expect you to already have some type of experience, but once you get your foot in the door, you'll also get to work with bigger, better, and more established brands. So the knowledge at that point just deepens. Another avenue that you can go is in-house, but the opportunities are a bit more rare on the international and local markets when you're entry level. In-house positions prefer 2 years plus experience, which you can gather agency side. But you can also be one of the lucky ones that hits it quite early and gets it at entry level. While the agency side is an amazing learning curve, in-house positions are good at teaching you more depth at each step because you aren't working in isolation. So when I say isolation, I mean you solely work within the ESP and analyze only ESP data. But there are much more to play in the lifecycle world than just that. You can find opportunities agency side that will provide you the experience of not working in isolation, but they are quite rare and they usually prefer 3 years plus experience. In-house is where you kind of get to slow down, look at the customer profiles and all of the touch points in the funnel and actively make the decisions when it comes to things like acquisition, subscription and loyalty programs, and even ambassador and affiliate programs. Things that affect retention, but are usually decided upon in-house, in isolation when you're on the agency side. Moreover, it's easier to see the long-term results in-house while in agencies. Moreover, it's easier to see the long-term results in-house while in agencies, you'll likely only see the short-term results. In agencies, clients usually churn a lot faster. So it's possible to have 1 or 2 accounts that only lasts about 3 to 6 months. So what does growth look like after you've done your first 2 to 3 years, whether in-house or agency side? So agency growth can push you into team leadership, senior client management roles, or more senior strategy roles, where you will oversee multiple strategies and accounts. But there are even more opportunities by that time. So a quick pause here, just to mention 2 things. The first thing is these titles are sometimes used interchangeably, and that's because the industry is so young. And then 2, although I believe we are at a point where the titles have matured, it might be that in 3 years, these titles might be called something different. So, I mean, lifecycle marketing probably didn't exist 6-7 years ago, so that's why I'm saying these 2 points. The natural next steps for you after 2 to 3 years are techies. It's technicians. It's a customer data role. So managing the systems and customer data that power how a company talks to its customers, usually through HubSpot, Braze, or Salesforce. It was actually one of the avenues that I looked at a lot when I wanted to start moving upwards. These companies that hire techies usually have a strict non-negotiable about the experience on the specific platforms. However, there are a lot of advocates that advocate for interchangeable skills here. If you do want to make sure the platform skills are there, it does cost money to do the certifications through Braze, HubSpot, and Salesforce, but it can easily be very valuable to do it. Think of it as an investment if this position intrigues you. Most of the skills needed for a techie, and that's the good thing, are learned by getting your hands dirty in your first 2 to 3 years as an assistant, email marketing specialist, strategist. It's all of the skills that you learn there. Usually you just don't learn it on Braze, HubSpot, or Salesforce. Then we have where I am at, which is lifecycle strategy. sometimes interchangeably referred to as CRM specialist or a retention specialist. I mean, it's so freaking confusing. What am I? So with lifecycle marketing, you own the entire customer journey from the acquisition point to the VIP step. And you orchestrate email, SMS, and WhatsApp across every stage of that journey to improve retention and reduce churn. You're going to hear that a lot in the industry too. The channel is the means, the customer journey is the job. We also have, sometimes separately, the retention specialist, although I don't see them that often anymore. So there are ongoing debates on the difference between a retention specialist and a lifecycle strategist, but most companies have this role specifically focused on retention. Retention positions obsesses over what happens after someone buys, not just getting them there or converting them. They're looking at the customer after they've purchased. And then we have what all of the above opportunities can be composed into one role. And that is kind of where Des is at. It's a freelancer, a consultant, or an agency founder. I believe that companies should actively be investing in creating departments and specific positions for lifecycle management because it's so damn powerful. But not all companies have the knowledge, the means, or even the cash flow. So freelancing and consultancy naturally fills that gap. And the nice thing is you could possibly tap into both international and local markets. From here, we can naturally flow into what you can expect to be earning at each of these stages. I've worked freelancing, but never full-time, so I know what realistic international agency rates looks like, but I'm not going to guess any of the other industries' income trajectory. A remote agency side hire from Africa typically won't be offered full rates, which is something I am against. That said, I don't expect we should get the full rates because that's why they are looking to hire here. But some companies drastically undercut salaries to cut costs. And it's sometimes I see salaries and I think it's shameful what those companies do. And I sometimes wish I could, what do you call it when you post them publicly on Facebook? I wish I could do that. But anyway, so at an entry-level email assistant, you should be looking at least, and this is entry level, $1,200 or more. I see some companies offer that to email marketing specialists who already have 1 to 2 years experience. No, they're undercutting you. That salary goes up naturally with each promotion you get. And in the email marketing world, that can happen quite fast. So email specialists with 1 to 2 years experience can start pushing $2,000 or more per month. From there, if you remain competitive, your salary will remain competitive as you move up the ladder. So now that we know what the path looks like, what the opportunities are, and what salary expectations you can have in the agency space, let's move to the part that is the most important to me. I told you earlier that the industry is relatively young, and then I told you that the industry is also maturing quite fast. So what is it? Anyway, so it is becoming super competitive, super fast. Once you are in, your next question should be, what separates a junior from a senior? Whether you're an email marketer, a lifecycle specialist, a techie, a retention specialist, or a CRM specialist, what will make you shine? Because asking yourself that question is the difference between competing at the crowded bottom of the market and being the person brands actually trust with their attention. Like Des said tonight, we can't teach email marketing in 2 hours. 2 hours, although I wish I could, because it would be awesome to have even more people to talk to about everything life cycle orientated and quite quickly. But I can give you some guidance on how you can move up. And here's my answer. What separates junior from senior is being aware of your effect. Often, as juniors, we just check the boxes. Campaign sent, good. Flow live, okay, cool. Box ticked, wonderful. Next task. It's an easy rhythm to fall into because if you're going agency side, you're likely going to be overwhelmed. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. Execution is where the craft gets built. You should be spending time in output mode, learning to build clean flows and ship well-built campaigns on deadline. Every senior you admire has lived there first. But you cannot stay there, and obviously you need to move up. So execution often focuses on the how and the what, but not on the why. Every single campaign, every strategy behind a flow alters the way the company is perceived by the person receiving that communication. The customer opens your message and something happens in their head. So the brand feels a little bit more premium or a little bit cheaper, a little more human or a little more spammy, a little more personal or a little more annoying. You are making that happen. Whether you're aware of it or not, you are actively creating and building relationships on a short or long-term basis for the brands that you work with. I remember the day that the moment that this mind shift happened for me. I was at my very first agency, working as a junior email marketing specialist. At that time, I had years experience in loyalty program management, but I still needed to build the craft of email, SMS, and WhatsApp. I was building a post-purchase flow, just like the strategy team instructed me to. Discount included. A discount in a post-purchase flow of all places. I realized that nothing about this flow was driving retention. Firstly, it immediately cut into the profit margin of the company, possibly after we have already cut into their profit margin with the welcome flow incentive. Secondly, we risked alienating a certain group of customers. If they had not purchased with a discount, they now received one after purchasing. A discount you would have probably enjoyed more when they purchased 10 minutes ago. So the flow was rigged to create the illusion of revenue and retention through building short-term results. Our work alters the customer journey for companies, good or bad. The fun thing about retention is we often get to play the long game, and that's the exciting part of it. You need to quickly realize that CRM, retention, lifecycle marketing is not about email, WhatsApp, and SMS. Those are the means. They are important, but they're the instruments. We can understand how and what they do, but we also need to understand why. This is usually exactly where juniors get trapped. As a junior, you usually measure opens, clicks, and total email attribution, and there's nothing wrong with it because you're still junior. They're the ones that easily show value, but they're often inaccurate. When those are the only metrics you are measuring, then you're looking at a fraction and skewed version of your true effect. Lifecycle can move lifetime value, average order value, conversion rate, churn rate. Sorry, I gotta stop, but everybody's like a discount in the post-purchase flow, but seriously, a discount in the post-purchase flow. But a lot of agencies focus on the short-term value. They don't look at the long-term value. Anyway, okay, so life cycle can move lifetime value, average order value, conversion rate, and then churn rate. But those aren't the only metrics that you can have an impact on. And every one of those outcomes are worth far more to a business than just an open rate or just short-term revenue. Don't understand me incorrectly. Open rates are important, but we should be looking at the data beyond just the ESP2. Seniors don't get paid on whether their campaign went out in time. They're getting paid because of the value of the outcomes that they move for that business. If you know how to start looking at brands, looking outside of the email account and identifying their problems using data analysis, and then solve those problems with the means given to you, which is our favorite channels, email, SMS, and WhatsApp, then you will move from being viewed as a junior to stand out as a senior. So yes, to know your effect takes experience, but the mind shift of it is free. So once the mind shift happens, how do you actively build your knowledge on life cycle? It will definitely have to come with time and experience, but one of the ways I did this was I learned from others. There are currently courses appearing all over our industry, but let's be honest, most are priced in American dollars, and after we've grinded it through the exchange rate, it isn't affordable to us. There are also courses that are happening in Africa, and we can participate in those, but the international ones are just too expensive for us. The best free education is this type of events that Henry has created. It's also industry leader newsletters and discussions happening on LinkedIn right now. I learned an enormous amount of what I know from spending at least an hour a day reading case study styled posts from practitioners, leaders of the agency and lifecycle strategy industries. I actually saw Dez's newsletter, I think it was during this week, where he talked about exactly this. And I think he'll probably have a lot of other big names that he could have given you. I thought he would have, but he didn't. But here's a few names that I actually enjoy following. So there's Josh Tay. I don't always understand a word the man says, and that's a compliment. The man lives inside the data. He builds hypotheses, he tests them, and then he debates the outcome on LinkedIn. There's Vian Brits and Adam Kitchen, Magnet Monster. That is the agency's name that they worked for. Well, Vian has moved on since, but he now works as a consultant. But they are both very valuable to the agency space. We've got Kate Reeves. She's super intelligent and funny. She has great tips and tricks, and she challenges you to think differently. And then we have Beth O'Malley. She calls herself the queen of CRM, but that might be debatable as it might be one of us. Okay, so these are just a few, but once you start following these, you'll definitely find more people. They are the ones analyzing the data, talking about how they did it, what they saw, and what they did to solve it. They are talking about the effect of email, SMS, and WhatsApp marketing. While you're at it, sign up for newsletters too. We know that Des runs one of them. He also runs Crossletter, but there's also Luke Clean, who comes to my mind. I think that's how you say his surname. It's Kline. He will follow brands, and this is cool. He will follow brands for 30 days or more and document their lifecycle strategy. It is mind-blowing to see it, and it has never wasted my time to read one of his newsletters. And then attend anything and everything you can that is free. Most webinars are there just to get your business, but you'll still be able to walk away from each one of them after learning something valuable. If you are actively using Klaviyo, it has a free academy. You learn different e-commerce scenarios and how to solve it using their platforms. It's still more on the means rather on the effect, but even knowing what is available to solve your problems or the problems that you see is helpful. And some agencies actually ask for the certification. If I didn't do the Klaviyo Academy, I would have been manually suppressing people from the sunset list if I hadn't learned that you can do this automatically with a webhook. I wouldn't have known that you can show free shipping thresholds to different customers in different locations if I didn't learn about hide and show. But be very careful when you start following people on LinkedIn. What will eventually set you apart is being able to separate the signal from the noise. There is a lot of people out there, like the people who are putting discounts into post-purchases, that they're pretending to be experts, and they aren't. They're just spewing industry standards or AI malarkey that might or might not work on a certain brand. Then, as you experiment, learn and test, start building proof, not just skills. This is the most important point, and I wish I could go back and tell myself that in the past. Companies are hiring less and less seniors on potential alone. To move up, you'll be hired on the evidence you can give of the impact that you have with the companies you work for. And that's how you're going to set yourself apart when this industry becomes really competitive. Do your own case studies and document it within your CV. That way, you'll build experience and proof at the same time. If you have no results yet, create them. Offer one small brand a free or cheap flow, or even a content campaign calendar for 1 month in exchange for permission to use the results. This will be your most valuable weapon moving forward. The proof that you understand the why, because there are too many people who know the what and the how, but not the why. So let me leave you with this. I am a little bit over my time. I knew I was going to talk a lot of nonsense in between. So you are already doing fragments of this work. You already have the testing ground. You are not just an assistant who does email, SMS, and WhatsApp marketing. You are someone who is actively shaping how thousands of customers experience a brand. All you need is the mind shift, then the drive, and then the experience. And then I'll see you on the senior side. And then I've got a joke, a quick one. Okay, so why do email marketers dislike trampolines? Because we're terrified of high bounces. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, that joke is going to be very, very industry specific, but don't worry. Thank you so much, Lana. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. And thank you so much for the community that you're building. It's really, really fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful. Thank you very much, Lana. I'm really, really grateful. I appreciate it a whole lot, yeah, because it's a world of things, and I picked so much from what you've said, particularly on the trajectory of growth, because it's something that we don't really get, and it's like, just like you said, it's not very detailed, like it's not specific. Okay, it's from here to here to here, and then with the names being thrown around, sometimes you don't know if you're a retention specialist, you don't know if you don't even know what you are at some point, right? So so you just have to pick something and hold on to it. Right, so
yeah, we all have identity problems after this industry. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Please,
thank you, Henry.
Let's Ilana. Thank you very, very much for that very detailed breakdown. So you can always come back to check this out, see what the trajectory of growth looks like, especially something she said that really, really stood out, which is when you're starting out, right, you're usually going to be underpaid, right? So you want to know that you're actually being underpaid and work against that, right? So if you're supposed to be paid about over $2,000 monthly for a 1 to 2 year human marketer in the industry, your brands are very much open to paying 1,200, right? That's way, way, way beyond what you should get. So yeah. So it's really, really important. And I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Okay, so we're looking for maybe please share your LinkedIn handle, places where we could connect with you and see the amazing things you have going with it. So yeah, so you could drop your handle for us here on, yeah.
Cool. I've tried to connect my YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the same way Des did. He sent you it privately. No. I'm going to send my LinkedIn to you privately so you can send it to to the people. Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're already wrapping up the whole session. So far it's been really incredible, and so I don't know about you, but I want to know. So what's it been like for you so far? How's it been? I just want a couple of people before we proceed. What's the whole session looking like for you, especially knowing the opportunities there in the industry? Anyone at all? Okay. All right. So we're wrapping up. So we have two more incredible people who would share their experience in the journey and what the industry has been like for them. So, but before we get into that, also, I just quickly want to give out one more guide that you're going to be needing, right? So that it's easier for you to work with. You already have one. Please check your emails to be able to make use of that. Okay. So I'll be sharing my screen very quickly. Okay. So um, here's what you can try out, right? So, to one of the ways to pick out, maybe say a client or someone you know needs an email. It's first of all these very quick steps, okay? So you sign up to their email list. So you go to their website, check out their email list, and sign up. Second way is identify the kind of emails you receive. So if they don't have this already, you know that they don't have an email going on. So they already have an email situation going on, right? Then you check to see what type of emails are you getting. Is it, like there's already told you what you get if you sign up to Crossletter or Email Experts Africa. Or sorry, email advice in your inbox rather. What you stand to get. So if you don't see something sequential that flows, then you know there's also a problem. Then if you have access, maybe your client, for instance, you could check their open rates, clicks, what kind of emails, or if you're the one even sending out these emails, you could see, okay, what are my emails looking like? And it tells you, okay, I actually need to get this fixed, right? And the best way to do it is what you now do is you put together maybe a one-page analysis. Okay, so this is where you are, this is what's missing, this is the gap, and this is how we connect them to generate revenue. And it's one of the best ways to find out how you could solve so how could you get a client rather that would need email. So like I said earlier, you're already working for a client if you have a role and you need to see if you could be of help with emails. Of course, being of help would mean making you more valuable, keeping you retained, and increasing your paycheck over time. So yeah, so that's that. So this pitch is one of the ways to how you'd be able to speak to your clients if you already have one, and you could also do it. What's the word now? You could also it's also in the guide, right? So you could go through it and then make very good use of it, so that you would be able to pitch to someone who would need your role. Yeah. So we've walked through a world of things. And um, let's get to know who would be needing all of these things. So either you have a job right now, but you want to charge more because you've just learned the skill that your client currently needs, or you don't have a job at all, but you want to get one within the first 30 days, 30 to 60 days or more, based on what you've heard tonight, what you've heard from Des, from Ilana, from myself, then this is definitely for you. So we're going to listen to Caroline, and Carol will be sharing her journey, her experience in email space, off of how it's been for her, and then we'll walk through other things. So Carol, please, you have the floor. Please let's give an incredible I'm going to introduce Carol first. So Carol has been doing incredible work in emails. I want her to introduce a part of herself, right? So I don't want to say that part yet. But she's picked up emails and she's grown in it, not just by doing emails, but by going full time into digital marketing. And currently, she's the lead digital marketer for a brand in Ghana. So it shows how she's moved from emails into a wider marketing channel. So Carol will step up and tell us more about her journey, tell us more about what it's been like for her, and we'll get to know these things. Carol, please, you have the floor. Thank you very much. So, Carol, are you there? Okay, so Carol, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm not able to hear you clearly. Okay, so while Carol fixes this, would listen to Ayoronke, and I'm going to introduce Ayoronke especially for a couple of reasons, and she's also going to give us more insight into herself. So this is an incredible person, and Ronke has been doing email marketing. You won't believe it, within less than 3 months, right? And she recently broke into the industry from doing from doing video roles and social media, and then getting into emails. And currently, she's a chief operating officer for more than just emails, right? So Ronke has been a very big proof of the fact that emails work, right? The industry actually works when you're able to get your hands right into it. So I want to get to actually walk us through how 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 her journey in emails has been, what it looks like for you to try out a new industry or wants to shift from getting from the VA roles, from social media, from even graphic design, because emails cut across graphic design into proper email marketing. Okay, you can please tell us all you have to tell us tonight.
Good evening, Henry. How are you? Can you hear me?
Mhm. Very loud and clear.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I don't know how to start, but I will start with saying that do it afraid, do it tired, do it striving, just get it done.
Yeah, up to
I
you.
got into I got into email marketing because it wasn't really because I needed to do it. It was because I was afraid to stay stuck. I was honestly so afraid of just being a VA for more than 5 years. I was afraid of being a V of being an executive virtual assistant with no level up. What is my career? How is my career going to increase? How is it going to grow? How is my payment going to increase as well? And one other thing I noticed was that entering into the international market as an executive virtual assistant was not easy. It was very, very competitive because people had understood and quickly gotten into the market from 2019 during the COVID time, right? So it was very, 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 very competitive. So I had to do it. I had to, after learning being a VA and all, right? I had to tell myself that I couldn't just stay stagnant. I've been trying to push into this international space because that's the goal. Move into the international space and foreign currencies because that alone can help elevate my own currency, right? So move into international currency, start earning from there. Speak to international people, get called up. I didn't even know that was going to happen. That happened by God's grace. But then as I began to look for new solutions, I noticed that one thing I found was that I was always into the digital space. I was more of how do I communicate better, right? I could communicate effectively as a social media manager for people, but I wanted to speak as myself. There are some things that you cannot say on social medias because they are watching your field and all of that. But as an email marketer, there is no boundary to your tonality of email, right? So that helped me a lot. Now, after that, another thing I noticed was that I had to develop myself and push myself forward, right? So the first time I sent an email, I was very afraid. I literally was afraid. I was afraid people were not going to read it. I was afraid I was going to, send to thousands of people that will come and sue me. But at the end of the day, I still did it. And I remember the first time I sent an email was to an international person. I think she was in Canada, right? And she was very, very afraid of the fact that people don't read email or even, buy from it. And I asked myself, I've been applying for VA roles, getting interviews as a VA, although it was kind of stipend, but I've been applying and doing it remotely for more than 2, 3 years, right? If I can apply using email, then people should be buying through email. So I decided to give that a try, just send her a message, right? Just explain and connect to her. Mind you, I didn't even know the kind of app she was building or even where she was speaking for. But because of the pain and the way she was speaking then, I just had to explain that I believe people should be buying through email if people can apply through emails and get job, right? So that alone has helped, and that alone was what pushed me into the email space, if I want to be honest. Because immediately I sent it to her, quite literally, I don't think it used up to 24 hours. She replied and was impressed with my email. And I had to ask myself, if I was applying to a job and I sent that kind of email and I had a higher chance of being employed, I also have an higher chance of someone buying from me if it was a sales email as well, right? So that got me into the email space. And from there, I started doing a lot of research because, yeah, we've known in our VA world that no matter where you're going to, no matter how you're going to go, always do research. Know your company, know them extremely well before you go ahead and pitch, right? So I did a lot of research in the industry, looked for people I could align with, people I could speak with, people that understood this email space, right? And that's the way I jammed Henry. It was a jam, it was a collision, something that I didn't plan. I've seen it, in fact, I've written off LinkedIn as places that people would never go. People on LinkedIn are not serious with email marketing because I've seen a lot of them that had they don't have no mouth talking about email marketing at that time, right? So I said, okay, you know what? I went to X and then I saw, I forgot the name of this guy on X, Technical Ben. Yeah, Technical Ben talking about email this, email that, email. I'm like, oh, okay. So somebody in Nigeria somewhere is doing email marketing, just like I want to dive into, right? So I started learning, started following him, went to platforms he said, go and learn from. And what got me my first ever, okay, you know what, let's try this, was the first job I got. I got that through Eri again. You won't believe it. So anyway, I got the job. I remember the night I was scheduled. I scheduled an email to go early in the morning. I checked that email more than 5 times. The email had been approved, but I still went to check. Is this okay? Is this done? Is this like this? Because I learned it, of course I know it, but I was very, very afraid. In fact, I was so afraid to the fact that after sending that email, I did not check the metrics of that email till the owner of the account said, Ronke, so you can do this? And I was blown away. So that was what brought me into email marketing. And that has been my journey. From there, I've been progressing, growing. I've been really glad to meet Eric because he had honestly pushed me and, kind of dragged me up and all. And I'm so glad as well to have met Caro as well, because these guys are amazing. I must be very, very frank about that. Honestly, like through area, I've met a lot of email marketers that I did not even think about. Let's not get into that on this place, because I know if I am, I'll speak a lot. But then I was just minding my business doing email, posting about email, talking about how I'm so in love with email and how email is opening my eye on LinkedIn, when suddenly somebody just sent me a message saying, "Hi, Ronke, I would like to bring you on an event." And I'm like, okay. I didn't honestly, I didn't check the profile. I was like, okay, because if you ask me to speak, I want to speak. I want to show people, let people know that you can earn more than what you are earning as a freelancer. You can earn more than what you're earning right now in that space when you get into email marketing right now. People are hungry for your skill. People are hungry for you in that space. So why are you competing with people when you can when you can upgrade yourself into this new space and earn more than you even plan or even think about, right? So I'm like, all right, no problem. And then when I got in, after a few discussion, I found out I was speaking with an ESP. Are you serious? I've been dreaming about speaking with you guys for days, and finally I'm speaking with you guys. And so that has been my journey. And currently, right now, with the help of Henry, from imagine someone who was very July, as of 2026, last year July, I'm saying this with all my chest. I did not ever dream of being in this place that I am right now. Like, as of 2025 July, if you had asked me last year that, Ronke, where will you be in 2026 July, I would never mention this place that I am right now, because I did not dream about it. I did not think about it. I did not plan about it. But this is me. And to the glory of God, we are still pushing, we're still going, right? And as long as you do, one thing I would love to tell VAs in the house is, as long as you don't give up and you keep improving, upscaling yourself, upgrading your skill, you would always be useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you. I don't know if it was just me, but who else felt, you know, the energy in and the memory of what it was like for her and what it is like right now. So, Ronge, I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. Emails have changed my life. I would always say it. Emails have changed my life, and the fact that it's changed yours, it's changing people also, right, across different places, right. We're not opportunity to hear so many people, but it's one thing to know that emails, it's an industry that's changing things, and we really need people in the industry. That's the part. Brands here are looking to hire people from Asia, right? Because they can't have access. They don't see people who are here, right? And then, just like Des and Ilana said, Aronka is saying right now, we need more people who would have hands-on experience to handle the brands here locally within Africa. So you'll be surprised that, and in fact, I think Nigeria is picking up, very fast. South Africa is picking up very fast. Egypt's picking up very fast. And a couple of other countries. Ghana is also picking up really fast. But then when you go outside of these countries, right, it's almost like it doesn't exist. So there's so much to do, right? And as we have more people in the industry, what happens is we shape the mindset about what the pay is. Because right now it's low. So it's low because we don't see the value in what we have going on. So it's up to us to shape the mindset, right? Build the systems that we want. And Ronke, thank you very much for how sharing your journey in email space. And I really look forward to so much more for you, right? I look forward to you speaking on not more stages, right? It's a big deal getting featured by Miller Lite. it's I haven't had that, and I look forward to it. So I'm sincerely proud of you. Please keep it up and keep doing the good work. So we are right at the very end of our session. So before we get to our last speaker, and the beautiful chief marketing officer of More Than Just Emails, I quickly want to walk us through a couple of things. So we've heard so much about breaking into the industry, and we've had a couple of questions about, okay, where do I start from? There's already mentioned something like that, right? What do I start from? What do I do? What are you looking forward to getting? So what I need you to understand is you've seen what the pay looks like in the industry. What you're getting from here is the exact upgrade that gives you full access to it, right? And before we wrap up what we have tonight, I want you to understand that wherever you are, either you have a role going on or you don't, and you want to get one. Email marketing is definitely going to be doing something for like that for you. And at More Than Just Emails, we've built an academy for that, where we move people who don't have jobs, who want to get jobs, people who already have maybe roles and they want to upskill in it, like we've discussed here, breaking into being core specialists that get retained. We build that in More Than Just Emails, and that's what we're doing here. Proudly, Carol and Ronke are products of More Than Just Emails, and across so many other people who we've shaped. So this is what it looks like if you're in the academy. If you have access to the full 16-week training, there's a weekly live session right currently going on, and this is already pre-recorded. We've gotten experts across different countries, 12 of them who featured within the 16-week training. It's already pre-recorded. You could always go through it at your own pace. You have access to the More Than Just Emails community, and you have projects that build your portfolio, because Ilana said something very, very powerful. You need to set yourself for your portfolio, because you're going to be asked, so, okay, have you handled this and that? And one of the core ways we've handled that is to make sure that while you're learning, you're building the projects for your portfolio, and it's positioning you for your role. So what we've built is once you're done, you're getting a role, because there's already a pipeline that helps channel that. And so far, we've been able to give a discount. So the academy runs for 100,000 or $100, depending on where you are. But for this particular um, session, we've given discount to 70,000 and $70, depending on where you are still. So it's going to run till Monday, and it's payable in 2 installments. So if you're able to pay it once, you can pay in 2 separate installments, so that it eases you access to getting it. So what you're looking at getting, like I said earlier, is a full 16-week training that is already pre-recorded. Extra sessions, these are now live sessions every single week that guide you throughout your journey. You have access to the More Than Just Email community. You have access to these incredible speakers you've heard, and projects that help you build your portfolio as you go. So we are really, really bent on getting people who has mastered these skills, and then getting them to communicate them to you, so that you have the right skills, the right knowledge, and the right experience to go get clients. So we've seen so many things that Deza said, right? And something that really stands out particularly is the fact that you're looking at what the market pays, right? So if you still want to break into the industry, you're looking at very incredible um, pay rate, either as a monthly rate, either as hourly rate. But I promise you, you want to stay here. You want to stay at the monthly rate, because it helps, right? That's you're sure that you're on a retainer every month. You have what you need to stay, to live the life that you want and stay gainfully employed there. So for those who be interested in building their careers in email marketing, please, you could always check. Would be very happy to have people welcome you into the community, and also you have access to various resources. We've sent one already. Second one will be coming your way very soon, immediately after we listen to Caroline. And I want to introduce her first. Correct. So my journey with Caroline has been really, really incredible, and I'm saying incredible because she's made. She was the first person who made my email to the pub. I could replicate this across the board, right? I could replicate this across various channels, and that's she's one of the reasons why we have what we have right now. She's one of the reasons, right? So, she's currently, like I said earlier, she's currently working as a lead digital marketer for a company in Ghana, and we're going to hear so much more about her. So, Carol, please, you have the floor, and please, would love to hear so much about you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get Carol's mic fixed. Okay. While we have that, your if your yeah, it's full email marketing. It's all about email marketing for the full 16 week. It's all email marketing, and it's done that way to make sure that you're able to have all you need. There's so many moving parts, right? That's why it's that extended. So you're able to cover all the platforms, all the skills, all the parts of email marketing, about 7 of them, that keeps you retained, that gets you the client that you desire to get here. So that's what the training looks like. All right. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Carol, over to you, please. Okay. I think we'll still need to work on your mic a little bit more before this. So maybe you could try exiting and joining once more. Okay. Okay. So while we wait for Carol to sit back, we are already at the end of today's session. So like I said earlier, Ronke and Carol, they are products of more than just emails, and it gladdens my heart seeing people who have broken into the marketing industry and are doing so amazing, right? So I need you to open up your hearts to this. The fact that if you're looking to break into this industry also, you've heard all the opportunities out there. The way forward is beginning with these resources you have right now. The one you've received via email, there are 2 of them. The one you've received via email, and secondly, access to full trainings that help you with this. And that's what we've done, like I said earlier, at more than just emails, to make sure that
Hi.
you have access to. Okay, Carol, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah.
You
So
can hear
let's
me
listen to
now.
Carol once.
Okay.
Yeah, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay, so sorry about that. I've had to switch to my phone.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. It's nice to be here. It's nice to have all of you here. I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started as soon as possible. Is my screen visible? Can you see my screen? Hello?
Not yet. It's not yet visible.
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's not yet visible. So we just
Yeah,
try
but
to.
I'm trying to share my
Okay,
screen.
I think we can.
You can see it now.
All right, we can see it right now.
So
Exactly.
I'm Caroline Yabua. but you can call me Carol. I'm a digital and life cycle marketer based in Ghana. But I happen to connect with Henry on LinkedIn, where he taught me through conversations. He became my email marketing coach, and after my experience with him, it's been so many doors upon doors, and I've also had the privilege to lead the marketing wing of more than just emails. So I know Henry thought today I'm going to share my email marketing journey, but I wanted to do something a little different. What I'm talking about today is the ladder of advantages, as how I like to call it. So, a question that you'll be answering at the end of this session is, does email marketing give you a career advantage? Well, let's find out. So, this is a very short story. On 24 June 2026, one President General, as I like to call him, and you understand at the end of the story, Mr. Kenny rewrote history. He broke the internet and the Guinness World Record, probably for being the first man ever to delete his email app at the exact time a huge opportunity was coming his way. Like, who does that? Mr. Kenny. Unfortunately for Kenny, he got shortlisted for an interview at his dream company. Yeah, and he missed it because the interview had lasted by 12 days. And in his defense, he said he was running out of phone storage. Some reactions said, whom the gods want to keep unemployed, they first convinced to delete his email app. Somebody also said, no way, of all the apps you could delete, the email app is literally one of the most important apps you could have. It can even make you money while you apply for jobs and wait to be called. Yet, that's a conversation Africans aren't ready for. So what's the conversation Africans aren't ready for? And for Kenny, it looks like he didn't just miss his interview, he was leaving something on the table. So for many, the email app is just for job applications and resetting your password. If you are like me, who always forgets their password, you definitely visit your email frequently. And that was how it was for me. So I found email marketing. And for you as a skilled assistant, is email marketing just limited to managing your client's inbox? Well, an advantage is a skill, decision, or position that gives you an edge, accelerates your progress, multiplies the value of your old skills, or gives you greater ability to adapt to a new environment. So, that being established, I would move on to the email marketing advantages. The first one on the list is the advantage of choosing differently. When I started in digital marketing, one of my biggest fears were the metrics. I'm fresh in marketing, email marketing. I'm fresh in digital marketing, sorry. How am I going to get these many impressions that people are already showing off on their portfolio? How am I going to start editing? How am I going to be a graphic designer, as well as be a social media manager, as well as be a content creator? And of course, people had these skills, and I was just a beginner. And these roles too were requiring that. And I believe you've seen, if you're on LinkedIn or you've applied for jobs, sometimes the job description is outrageous. But then that didn't discourage me. I decided to learn a skill many people didn't know, and that got my foot in the front door. My current role, for instance, it was because I was having that email marketing advantage that I got my foot in the door. So what advantage does this give you? You don't need to master every skill out there. Anybody who tells you master every skill is a liar. But then because there are some roles you can basically learn on the job, right? But then you should have a skill that not everybody has, like it's niche, it's the part that is less taken. That will give you a much greater advantage. Yeah, so that's the first advantage. Then the second advantage is the second advantage is um the skills advantage. So this is also basically the pillars of email marketing. We have strategy, design, segmentation, automation, copywriting, deliverability, and ESP tools. I see somebody saying my voice is a bit low. I hope it's better now. Yeah, so strategy is a skill that you can gain in email marketing. That skill, along with copywriting, design, segmentation, are all skills that as a marketer you need, right? So if you're a virtual assistant and you feel like you want to break into marketing, marketing is one of those high income skills with very low barriers of entry, but you don't know where to start. You don't have any product you feel like you are going to market to get a marketing skill. You don't have any entry to marketing because you do more of admin work. Strategy, design, segmentation, and copywriting are your advantages. And with all these skills too that I've mentioned, you can specialize in each of them individually. So if you have a taste of everything and you see the one that works best for you, you can easily shift to become an email designer, an email segmentation, you know no a copywriter, so an email copywriter, an email marketing strategist, and an email deliverability expert. Or you can just come up with an ESP tool, because in Africa, honestly, we need that. We don't have such tools of our own. They are all native. They are all tools that have been brought to us, right? We don't have one that is native to us. And also, as I was mentioning, if you want to break into tech too, automation is a very good skill you could pick up. Deliverability and ESP too, because you learn to learn the technicalities of the job. Even as an admin, you don't you could send an email and the email will be landing in spam. You could send a client's email, then the email is landing into spam. How are you going to explain to your client that you even sent the email successfully and the person received? Imagine it's a big opportunity that is coming for you, the client, and you will be paid through that. But if you have the deliverability basics, it makes it easier for you to know what to do and what not to do. So the next advantage is the human touch advantage. AI handles most of the tasks you do now. If you've been seeing what's been going on in the market, skills like Claude, skills like AI tools like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT can easily be integrated into your client's computer or desktop. That means they could easily lay you off any moment from now, right? But then what if you instead of seeing AI as a threat, you see it as a best friend or an assistant? Yeah, an assistant yourself. But how about you see these AI tools as an assistant, an AI assistant, and use it to do those tasks that are repetitive? Then you can now pitch to your client or look for other roles that can let you express yourself creatively, think strategically, because these are skills that email marketing cannot replace, right? Email marketing does not, I mean, AI does not understand how to take valuable decisions that can make an impact. So then email marketing gives you the human touch advantage. That's our third skill. The fourth skill is the career advantage. So the career advantage is, think I want you to think of a career like climbing the stairs to a building. You move from one floor to the other. That means anytime you go up the stairs, the view changes. How do you, so you need to ask yourself such questions like, how do you want to progress in your career, and what skills are you building upon to help you climb that career ladder? So Ronke was sharing her journey where she was a virtual assistant, but she realized that she wanted more, and she decided to pick up email marketing. And since then, it's been uh it's been a blessing for her, basically. So I want you to think about the advantages you could get from the career advantage perspective. Think marketing, technology, project management, operations manager, content specialist, digital marketer. These are all career paths for you. If you follow technical Ben, Ronke was saying she came across his emails. Yes, if you follow him, he will tell you that he's a technical email marketer, and marketing is also tech, right? And I was also saying that in the career advantage, the other one of the skills I mentioned here, that it gives you a greater advantage to pursue other career paths that are above virtual assistants, executive assistants. Do you want to do that all your life, or you want to enter into managerial roles and explore what that field may have for you? The next advantage, I like to call it the industry advantage. So these are all industries that email marketing gives you room to work in. Marketing is a skill everybody needs. Every brand needs email marketing. Every brand needs marketing. So imagine you have a passion for travel and hospitality, or you work in a non-profit organization, or you are in charge of helping a client launch an app or something. The industry advantage gives you the opportunity to switch to any field you want, any area you want. Like, it's very advantageous, if I should put it. Somebody I really love e-com. I like doing e-com. Yeah, because that's where the beauty brands are, the lifestyle brands, um, those kind of brands. Yeah, and I really, really love working there. So for me, I do that as a hobby. Anytime I do that, I feel relaxed, I feel calm. But when I'm working, what I do mostly is in B2B and SaaS, travel and hospitality, education, coaching and e-learning, and financial services. That's where I do I focus now. So you realize I have the opportunity to say I've worked in this industry before. I have knowledge here, I have understanding here. It makes your CV very, very versatile, if I should put it. Yes. So you don't think if you're an email marketing specialist, it gets boring. It becomes one way. You can always switch and explore paths that fit your goals. The next advantage I'll call is the underrated advantage. Now back to Kenny, the guy who deleted his email and missed the interview of his dreams. Well, he was lucky enough for him to be called later on. Well, the company rescheduled the interview dates for him, but imagine he didn't get it. It would be an opportunity, a wasted opportunity there. But then for Kenny, he sees emails as a place to check what's up. He does, if he remembers to, if he wants to apply for a role, that's what email marketing means to him. But what about you? You could treat email marketing like your career, your business. You don't have to stop being a virtual assistant. You can do it on the side. And it's very underrated, because I call it the underrated advantage, because in Africa, sometimes if you want to send somebody an email, you have to text them or call them and tell them that, hey, I've sent you an email. Can you check it out? Or the brand sending you the email has to call you again, or either send a text message as well. And I feel like that's what makes email marketing underrated. There are so many functions in the email box that you can use to your greatest advantage. So that I think that's the last one. Over to you. Does email marketing really give a greater advantage? Yeah or nay? So these are all the advantages we spoke about: the unfair advantage, the advantage of choosing differently, the skills advantage, the human touch advantage, the industry advantage, and the underrated advantage. There's so many other advantages of email marketing that I haven't even stated here, because the moment you enter, you would see where email marketing gives you a greater advantage. If you've tasted how email marketing gives you that advantage and takes you into rooms you don't even expect to be, then I believe after this session, or after joining the More Than Just Emails academy community, being an email marketing specialist, after a year's time, you will be able to testify to this thing right here. So thank you for taking advantage. Thank you for coming to our little TED Talk. Yes. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you. I didn't see this coming at all. Like I really didn't see this coming, and it's completely blew my mind. Okay, thank you very much. It's so beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. Yeah. So I actually didn't know that some of these advantages exist, like the underrated advantage. So it's actually a big deal, right? So yeah. So God, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And people would want to connect with you. You could drop your LinkedIn handle, or maybe anywhere else you would want them to connect with you, right? You could just leave that in the chat, and I'll
Okay,
populate
I'm going to
it.
share it
Yeah.
with you. I'm going to share it with
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
All right. So that brings us to the end of today's event, and it boils down to one thing. This whole thing, everything that's been said, can be you, right? Could be you. Right. So everything that's been shared this night, everything you've heard, I know it's been a very long stretch, right? And I'm grateful to everyone who has stayed back. But everything you've heard tonight could be you, right? It's up to you to take the step that you need. It's important that you understand where you are right now and know where you want to head to, because that's what makes all the difference. And like we always say in the industry, email marketing is very generous, not just in terms of the pay, but in terms of the audience. You see, you've seen people who've spoken at this event. I promise you, there are industries where you have to pay these people certain amount of money to come in here and speak, right? So but because of the nature of the industry, they are able to come here, share their knowledge, and also me, us being generous to let them talk about their own things going on. That's what the industry looks like. So it's a place that nurtures growth, because we need email marketers out there. Honestly, it's not just about getting people into the community. It's about getting email marketers. We need more email marketers in the industry. Africa is losing touch. And until we get brands to understand the resource for them in emails, we would get them to pay well. So that's why people are rushing, you know, America, Europe, and all these places for email. For is the fact that you're on a retainer role, for as long as you want, as long as you keep growing. The career ladder is very fast. As you keep growing, you keep evolving, your pay increases, your role increases, more opportunities, especially speaking engagements, which is a big deal in this industry. I promise you, it's a big deal in this industry. So yeah, so like I said earlier, more than just emails, we are open to getting more people. I'm open to training more email marketers. We've been doing it for over a year, and it's been tremendous. So um, it's going to be an opportunity for you to advance these skill sets. And you've heard Carol, you've heard Ronke, you've heard Des, you've heard these people talk about that. I wish I could share my own journey, right? But one thing I would say is email changed my life. It's still changing my life till tomorrow. And I've built a business in emails, right? So it's proof of how incredible an industry it is of. But beyond, what it does for you as a person, it's how it keeps you employed. AI is going to really change a couple of things very soon. Emails are going to stay retained, right? And advancing into Carol said something about the skill advantage. You begin to go into other skill sets. I'm headed into automations, right? Because of email marketing and because I started doing email automations in what's the name now? In email marketing. So now I want to go into AI automations, building AI systems, right? Like core AI systems, AI stacks for businesses because of my email background. Okay, because I understand how these things work. So that's what email opens you up to. And like we said, so we're opening up our academy for a 30% discount. Honestly, it's a big thing. It's a really big thing. You're getting access to so much, right? And it's running from now till Monday midnight at Monday. So from Tuesday, we're closing it up. So you could go through. If you want to, if you want like a walk through what we currently have, you could just let me know. You could send me an email. You already have mine. I've sent a couple of emails to you, so you could send me an email. You could reply to any of the emails, and I could give you like a walkthrough of what we currently have, and you see what it looks like. So yeah, so this is going to be an opportunity for people who want to make more out of their current roles and break into the industry. All right, so I want to say a very big thing. I already I've pinned Carol's link, so if you want to please follow her on LinkedIn, she's doing incredible stuff there, and you get to learn so much more. So I'm going to pin it so you can still see it more. So I want to thank you all for being here. We still have a couple of people who have stayed for over 3 hours. I appreciate every single one of you who have stayed back, and I'm looking forward to making this worth your time. So if you have concerns, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. Right, I'll be more than happy to walk you through whatever it is you need. Um, also, if you think that sessions like this would help, get people into better opportunities, you can also let me know. Reply to an email that you receive, and we'll organize more of this. We'll put together more of this, cutting across different industries, cutting across different places, so that it's more elaborate and gives you more opportunities. Shows you what's possible. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And for those who are here, we have one final resource. I've already pushed it out. So I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. So tell me what it looks like playing with those resources, right? They are really detailed. One of them should help you by Monday, right? One of them should help you by Monday. So I'm expecting to see someone who says, "Oh, I was able to make use of this on Friday. I got this on Friday. I was able to make use of it on Monday, right? And then I'm getting into this." So that's more than becoming an email marketer is having the experience of what it looks like in the industry. So, and that's what we've done tonight. And I'm very grateful to all of you who have stayed back. Thank you for making this possible. Thank you for being here, and do have a lovely, lovely evening, and have a beautiful weekend also. Thank you. All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, and see ya.